Chapter 35. Just as Yi Qing Luo was about to dodge, she felt that powerful chi wave actually bypassed her and smashed next to Uchiya's feet with a loud bang. It just so happened to block the sword wave that Uchiya set off. "Who is it?" Uchiya's attack didn't land and he roared in uncontrollable rage. Yi Qing Luo also looked in the direction of the profound chi attack. She saw a man dressed in white, waving a folding fan as he entered pristine elixir medicine hall, neither too fast nor too slow. His white clothes fluttered, elegant and noble, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. That was an extremely conceited smile. If this smile was on someone else, perhaps it would be a joke. But on him, it felt so smooth and natural. Yi Qing Luo narrowed her charming eyes as she pondered whether the other was a friend or foe. Uchiya already spoke first. "Isn't this second young Master Mu? I haven't seen you for a few days and you even dare to meddle in this young master's business?" Second young Master Mu? Yi Qing Luo searched for this name in her memory. She actually had a bit of an impression. Second young Master Mu Zifei was the second young master of the Mu family, a profound practitioner aristocratic family. The Mu family had an extremely strange custom. For generations, they would only marry one person as a wife. Because of this, the Mu family also only had 2 sons. After all, second young Master Mu came from a profound practitioner aristocratic family and was also a rare profound chi genius. Mu Zifei unfolded his folding fan and lightly waved it. "Fourth young Master Yuchi, you're causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. How can this be considered as other people's business? If I don't stop you and something really happens, our faces won't be good. This young master's target today is only that little slut. Give her to me and this young master will immediately leave with my people." Uchiya put away his long sword. "Once you enter our pristine elixir medicine hall, you're our customer. If I hand over pristine elixir medicine hall's customer to you today, how will the common people view pristine elixir medicine hall?" Mu Zifei raised his fan and waved it. Uchiya's face suddenly sunk. "So you're saying that you want to oppose this young master for that trash?" "I don't dare oppose you. What I'm doing is only to protect the safety of the medicine hall's customers. If fourth young Master Yuchi insists on causing trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall, then I can only offend you." Finished speaking, Mu Zifei no longer paid attention to Uchiya. Walking straight towards Yi Qing Luo, that handsome face revealed a sincere smile. "Seventh Miss, I'm really sorry to have startled you." Yi Qing Luo nodded indifferently. In his heart, he had some appreciation towards Mu Zifei. "I'm pristine elixir medicine hall's second young master, Mu Zifei. In order to make up for my apology, whatever medicinal ingredients you want to buy today, put it all on my tab." Soon after, Mu Zifei called the shopkeeper over and took out a jade pendant from his waist. "Bring seventh young miss to the back room to choose medicinal ingredient." The shopkeeper took the jade pendant and respectfully made a "please" gesture. "Seventh miss, please come with me." Yi Qing Luo didn't stand on ceremony as she pulled him along and followed the shopkeeper to the back room. Seeing that Yi Qing Luo wanted to leave, how would Uchiya be willing to let her go? He immediately raised his sword high and unleashed his stellar energy. However, Uchiya had just gathered his profound energy when Mu Zifei, who was still 10 steps away, suddenly appeared in front of him. He fiercely sent out a palm, hacking onto Uchiya's chest. Uchiya screamed miserably and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Yi Qing Luo's leg, which was just about to step into the back room, suddenly stopped. She looked at Mu Zifei with great interest, incomparably admiring his neat and tidy movements. Chapter 36. "Sister, you can't be." Yi Feng Yu's expression congealed as he looked at the center of the medicine shop with slight worry. He saw Uchiya slap the ground with his palm and leap up. His longsword turned and met Mu Zifei head-on. Mu Zifei was unruffled as he withdrew his folding fan into his sleeve. Replacing it was a blood-red longsword. The sword and sword collided and profound chi violently surged out. The sword light was resplendent and the sword chi was awe-inspiring. It carried an extremely strong and majestic chi wave as it exploded with a loud bang. Was this a battle between the strong? Yifeng Yu's heart thumped. Do you feel that you are clearly on par with their profound grades, yet you are unable to display their imposing manner? Yiqing Luo saw through Yifeng Yu's thoughts in one glance. Yifeng Yu stared ahead in a daze. A certain place in his heart was gradually changing. You will also have this kind of imposing manner. Yiqing Luo hooked up a smile and stuffed the medicine list into his palm. Think carefully, when you confronted those 3 attendants at the end, what was in your heart? Only you can understand the disparity between you and them. Yifeng Yu's eyes flashed as he vaguely grasped something. Yiqing Luo pushed Yifeng Yu towards the back room. Don't worry, sister, go ahead. Yifeng Yu picked up the medicine list as he was being pushed and glanced at it. He coughed fiercely. Avoiding the shopkeeper who was leading the way, he lowered his voice and leaned close to Yiqing Luo's ear. Sister, aren't you looting a burning house? That medicine list was filled with a bunch of names of medicinal herbs. Added together, it was at least 10 gold coins. 10 gold coins, 10. Yiqing Luo disapprovingly raised her eyebrows. She was very calm. Is the Mu family lacking in gold coins? Since second young Master Mu proposed that all the medicinal herbs I bought today are free of charge, I'll take 1 copper coin's worth of medicinal herbs and 10 gold coins as well. What's wrong with that? Yifeng Yu was speechless. In the end, he followed the shopkeeper into the back room with a red face under Yiqing Luo's coercion. When Yiqing Luo returned to the medicine shop's main hall, she discovered that Yuchiya had already fought his way outside the medicine shop under Mu Zifei's lead. Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows. She was somewhat interested in this second young Master Mu. They would start fighting at the slightest disagreement, and they would never resort to words to settle things that could be settled with their fists. She admired such a decisive man. Mu Zifei, what's your relationship with that trash? Unexpectedly, for her, you don't hesitate to oppose this young master? Yuchiya was in an extremely sorry state. In terms of profound rank, he was above Mu Zifei. But in terms of control over profound energy and saber arts, Mu Zifei clearly had the upper hand. The hand gripping the sword was already numb from Mu Zifei's relentless advance and the collision of the sword and saber. It was somewhat unsteady on the sword. I don't know Miss Seven, and I'm not doing this for her. The corner of Mu Zifei's mouth was still that smile that made people unable to be conceited. Anyone who causes trouble in pristine Elixir Medicine Hall is an enemy of my Mu family. Since fourth young Master Yuchi doesn't want to save face for both sides, then I don't need to show mercy. So it turns out that fourth young Master Yuchi's strength is so weak. Second young Master Mu hasn't even used his full strength and is already unable to meet the challenge? A sweet and melodious voice leisurely came over. The tone was full of ridicule. Inside the medicine shop, a woman dressed in red like fire walked out. Dark blood-red patterns outlined the outline of an enchanting flower at the hem of her skirt. Her fine black hair scattered over her shoulders. Her slender and thin eyebrows curved. Her bewitching and seductive eyes revealed a somewhat cold, flowing light. Chapter 37. Yiqing Luo. Once he saw Yiqing Luo walking over, Yuchiya's eyes turned scarlet red, filled with hatred. His fingers, which were gripping the long sword tightly, tightened one by one. Seventh young lady, just leave him to me. Mu Zifei smiled as he looked towards Yiqing Luo. After all, fourth young Master Yuchi messed up the medicine hall because of me. If I were to stand by the side and watch, it wouldn't be justifiable. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as she smiled lightly. His demeanor was calm, without the slightest bit of timidity or fear. That pair of enchanting eyes that could bewitch all living things had a radiance that was so dazzling. This isn't an aura that a trash can emit. A brilliant glint flitted across the depths of Mu Zifei's eyes as he recalled the news that had been circulating throughout Three Springs City during this period of time. It seemed that this seventh young lady of the Yi family had really changed. He had a very strong idea. The Three Springs sect would most likely undergo an earth-shaking change. Suddenly, a slender white hand rested on Mu Zifei's shoulder. He was startled when he heard the woman's low voice. That orchid-like fragrance seeped into his nose. Mu Zifei was dazed for a split second. Yuqi family's helpers are here. Yi Qing Luo's eyes sunk slightly. Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall doesn't have any hired thugs? As soon as she walked out of the medicine shop, she keenly heard the commoners discussing. The Yuqi family had gathered 20 to 30 people and were rushing over here. He glanced at the attendant lying on the ground in the hall. Sure enough, one had run away. 20 to 30 people. There were probably many experts from the Yuqi family among them. She did not have any xian qi, and this body could not display even 1/10 of her skills in her previous life. Joining hands with Mu Zifei to deal with 20 to 30 people, I'm afraid he was going to die here. Mu Zifei's complexion changed. Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall is opened by the Mu clan. Even if there are disputes, they will still give the Mu clan this face, therefore. Pristine Elixir Medicine Store didn't arrange any thugs at all. Miss Seven, I'll cover you. You should leave now. As long as we return to Three Springs sect, they won't dare to do anything to you. Mu Zifei pulled Yi Qing Luo behind him. If I leave, what will you do? In any case, I'm the Mu family's second young master. If the Yuqi family dares to touch me, it's the same as declaring war on the Mu family. Mu Zifei gripped his long saber tightly, his gaze becoming sharp. Leave now. A burst of profound energy burst out from his body. This powerful wave of qi was even more powerful than when Yuqi had tangled with him. His long blade flicked upwards, and profound energy surged madly in the surroundings. A 4-foot-long blade radiance was already directly pressed down towards Yuqi. This saber turned into an astonishing beam of light that pierced through the sky. Yi Qing Luo retreated a few steps under that strong airwave. Half squinting her charming eyes, she deeply stared at the man who used his full strength to attack Yuqi. A smile quietly leapt onto the corner of her mouth. He was serious. He really wanted to use himself in exchange for her safety. When had she ever been protected like this? She, Yi Qing Luo, was determined to befriend this friend. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a group of people rapidly approaching from the other end of the street. His gaze gradually turned cold. Here it comes. The Yuqi family's reinforcements. Yi Qing Luo estimated with her eyes that there were approximately 23 to 24 people. The two leaders were approximately 30 years old, overbearing and aggressive. Apart from the two leaders' profound levels at Mystic Profound 9th grade, there were still 4 7th grade Profound practitioners. The rest were all at the Yellow Profound realm. This lineup couldn't be considered especially powerful, but to the current her, if she were to meet force with force, she had no chance of victory. Chapter 38. Seeing that help had arrived, Yuqiya's panicked expression immediately became arrogant. His morale for battle also became full of confidence. The other side had 2 people, while he had 20 people behind him, as well as the Yuqi family's elite guards. Why would he be afraid of a waste and a second young master Mu? Yi Qing Luo, Mu Zifei, today this young master will let you see the consequences of messing around with the Tai Sui's head. Yuqiya's longsword cut through the air like a streak of azure light, carrying the chill of a sword. In a split second, the entire sky was covered in lightning and thunder, sealing off Yi Qing Luo and Mu Zifei from all directions. Yi Qing Luo and Mu Zifei looked at each other. When they saw the smile that flashed in the other's eyes, they coincidentally hooked the corners of their lips. A murderous aura floated in Yi Qing Luo's eyes, and the folding fan in her sleeve flipped at her fingertips. The tip of her toes touched the ground, and her figure immediately transformed into an afterimage. Mu Zifei's longsword condensed profound qi and slashed down horizontally. With each slash, the earth seemed to shake, red like thunder. He opened a path for Yiqing Luo. When Yuqiya's 20 guards saw this, they rushed forward in unison. Profound qi soared to the sky, and the surrounding common people's stalls and tables were all overturned. Items smashed onto the ground and shattered into pieces. At first, when Mu Zifei and Yuqiya fought, they didn't harm the common people. These 20 people moved together, and immediately, the entire street was filled with screams and clamor. The folding fan in Yiqing Luo's hand was like a sharp blade, spinning at high speed at her fingertips. Her acuity was extremely high, her speed was extremely fast, and she also possessed the unique footwork she learned in her previous life. Several profound practitioners didn't even have time to make a move when they felt a chill on their necks, and they already fell to the ground. Quick! Stop her! The 9th mystic profound grade middle-aged man shouted sternly. His palm moved and split open the blade qi created by Mu Zifei. Immediately, he pulled out a sharp broadsword from his waist and chopped at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's brows raised, and she retreated a few steps with her toes. She dodged to the side and avoided the blade wave. With a boom, the middle-aged man's broadsword chopped out countless blade shadows where she was just standing. The 9th grade of the mystic profound realm could already be ranked amongst the powerhouses of the West Wave continent. Naturally, his reaction was extremely fast. After slashing the air again, he immediately leapt up. The huge sword was incomparably vicious, aiming straight for Yiqing Luo's vital point. Your opponent is me. Suddenly, Mu Zifei, who was surrounded and attacked by more than 10 guards, sent his saber qi flying. He released a big move and broke through the human wall. His white clothes fluttered in the wind, his long hair fluttered in the wind, his long blade crisscrossed, the profound qi released a resplendent blade light, fiercely colliding with the middle-aged man's blade. The two blade auras collided at the same time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo's footwork was strange, and in just a few steps, she had already passed through the middle-aged man's encirclement. Her goal was to directly take action against Yuqiya. There were only 2 of them, so they had to capture the ringleader first. As long as Yuqiya was restrained, who among those 20 or so people would still dare to move? This was also the stratagem that she saw in Mu Zifei's eyes when their eyes met. The cooperation between the two was so tacit. It was as if he had practiced this countless times. With just a few glances, he was able to understand the other party's thoughts. Under the protection of those 20 or so people, Yuqiya naturally relaxed his vigilance. He simply didn't expect that Yiqing Luo, a trash without the slightest bit of profound qi, would actually approach him under the eyes of 2 9th grade mystic profound grade and 4 4th grade mystic profound grade guard. Suddenly, Yuqiya suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Chapter 39. Yuqiya immediately turned his head. Then came face to face with Yiqing Luo's charming eyes. That country-toppling appearance revealed a cold smile, as if ridiculing his cowardice and incompetence. Then he saw Yiqing Luo raise a middle finger towards him. Although Yuqiya didn't understand that meaning, from Yiqing Luo's expression, he could see that it was absolutely looking down on him. Very clearly, Yiqing Luo was indeed looking down on him. This was provocation and contempt. Everyone, attack! Yuqiya couldn't stand the provocation and immediately pointed at Yiqing Luo in an uncontrollable rage, commanding the surrounding guards. As long as you capture this little trash alive, this young master will heavily reward you. His subordinates immediately rushed towards Yiqing Luo. Yuqiya quickly retreated, vigilantly retreating out of the battle. In his mind, he recalled Yiqing Luo's bloodthirsty provocative smile, and his back involuntarily turned cold. Impossible! There were more than 20 guards in the surroundings, forming a defensive line in front of him. Even if Mu Zifei was there, he could at most block the mystic profound 9th grade middle-aged man. Once he was entangled by the middle-aged man, even if Mu Zifei wanted to free up his hands to help Yiqing Luo, he would probably be powerless. Want to make a move on him under the watchful eyes of everyone? Impossible. Numerous guards surrounded Yiqing Luo, but in the blink of an eye, they had already lost all traces of Yiqing Luo. What kind of sorcery did that witch use? Can a person really disappear into thin air? Protect fourth young master. Protect fourth young master. That mystic profound ninth-grade guard who had always been protecting Uchiha at his side sternly berated. He deeply furrowed his brows, his gaze sharply surveying the surroundings. Why, he couldn't feel the slightest profound chi fluctuation from Yiqing Luo's body. But her speed was unexpectedly fast to the point where he couldn't even catch her? The guards uniformly turned back and surrounded Uchiha's direction. At this time, a powerful blade chi pressed forward. A white silhouette leapt into the crowd, long blade dancing, with a kind of ferocious imposing manner, completely evading the surrounding guards. It was Mu Zifei. He didn't know when he broke away from that middle-aged man's entanglement and rushed towards Uchiha. Another ninth-rank protector immediately blocked in front of Uchiha, colliding head-on with Mu Zifei's attack. Uchiha only took a small step back. Suddenly, a folding fan appeared on his neck. The icy cold air carried with it a sense of fear, as if one's life was being taken away. Uchiha's body instantly went taut. How could he still dare to move even half a step? Yiqing Luo's sweet and bewitching voice rang in his ears, like an azura from hell, incomparably cold. Fourth young master Yuchi, are you going to stop, or die? It was obviously just a folding fan, but in Yiqing Luo's hands, Uchiha seemed to feel that it was a sharp blade, sticking to his neck. A chill ran down his spine, and a chill of fear welled up from the bottom of his heart. How did she avoid the defense of more than 20 people and get close to him in an instant? Her speed was so strange and shocking. You dare to kill me? This young master is Yuchi. Before he finished speaking, that folding fan had already approached Uchiha's blood vessels. A tingling sensation made Uchiha suck in a breath of cold air. Stop! All of you stop for this young master! He repeatedly screamed involuntarily. The surrounding 20 people all stopped what they were doing. The ordinary guards were endlessly dazed, and those several mystic profound and above guards' complexions immediately turned ashen. Chapter 40. Under their eyelids, Yiqing Luo had restrained Uchiha. This was simply a slap to their faces. With just a turn, Yiqing Luo had already approached. This wasn't just because of the speed. Yiqing Luo didn't have any profound chi, so they couldn't sense her presence from her profound chi fluctuations. But her speed was fast and nimble, it would bring along the wind. The wind would easily expose a person's target. However, Yiqing Luo's approach was completely silent. Without any flaws, she didn't give them any chance to react at all. After Yiqing Luo succeeded, Mu Zifei immediately stopped and returned to Yiqing Luo's side. Yiqing Luo, let go of my young master. The guard's eyes were sinister as he pointed at Yiqing Luo. If you dare to touch a single hair on our young master, our Yuchi family will make sure you die without knowing how. Yiqing Luo sneered as her fingers lifted Uchiha's chin. Blood had already seeped out from a spot on his neck. You can try and see if this young patriarch dares. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up slightly as her fingers holding the fan moved randomly. With each movement, Uchiha felt a burst of stinging pain, like the pain of a blade cutting through his skin. He was so shocked that he repeatedly shouted, his face full of fear. You stop! Stop! Yuchi family is really imposing, actually daring to openly despise my Three Springs sect, despise the Mu family. Yiqing Luo actually stopped, her charming eyes staring straight at the guard. Is the Yuchi family preparing to rebel and want to become the #1 family in the Western continent? The guard's expression congealed. Such a big hat would easily arouse the vigilance of the other families towards the Yuchi family. Just as he was about to answer, he saw Yiqing Luo's fan move closer to Uchiya's neck. That pair of cold and enchanting eyes was warning him. He wanted to explain but didn't dare to open his mouth. If he didn't explain, he was afraid that if someone with ulterior motives heard, this Yuchi family would once again stir up great waves. Brilliant, Yiqing Luo's move was really brilliant. The two middle-aged guards looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This Yi family's seventh miss seemed to have changed into another person. For a moment, both sides were in a deadlock. Yuchi family's ability has indeed grown, actually daring to cause trouble in my pristine elixir medicine hall. A clear voice came from afar. A man dressed in luxurious blue robes walked over with his hands behind his back. His figure was tall and slender, and his face was handsome and refined. His entire body emitted a scholarly aura. Yiqing Luo followed the direction of the voice. When he met that pair of smiling azure eyes, a surprised expression appeared on his face. Wasn't this the man whom she had borrowed, the fan from outside the Three Springs sect? I didn't expect to meet him here. Big brother, why are you here? Suddenly, they heard Mu Zifei shout at the man beside them. The man raised his eyebrows slightly, and a bright smile appeared on his handsome face. If anything happens to you, father and mother will be talking about me. It's not like I can't handle things. Mu Zifei's expression was displeased, but a smile overflowed from between his brows. It could be seen that the two brothers had a very good relationship. As they were talking, the man had already crossed the crowd and stood between Yiqing Luo and the guard. I, Mu Zifan, am the eldest son of the Mu family and also the owner of pristine elixir medicine hall. If you insist on touching my people in my territory, then the Mu family will accompany you to the end. Chapter 41. The two middle-aged guards spread open their arms and pushed the 20 guards behind them back a few steps. The Yuchi family doesn't want to become enemies with the Mu family. Our fourth young master's target is only the Yi family's 7th Mississippi. If the two young masters of the Mu family make things convenient and hand over the Yi family's 7th miss, we will leave immediately. I won't intervene in the grievances between the Yuchi family and the 7th Mississippi. Although Mu Zifan was smiling, there wasn't the slightest hint of a smile between his brows. Big brother! Mu Zifei hurriedly shouted, knitting his brows tightly. How can you not? Mu Zifan raised his hand and stopped him. A pair of cold eyes coldly looked at that guard. But the fourth young master is in my pristine elixir medicine hall looking for trouble with the 7th Mississippi. Then I have no choice but to intervene. You! The middle-aged guard was so angry that he couldn't speak for a long time. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? Either kneel down and apologize to this young master, or this young master will send you to hell. Yiqing Luo listened to both sides negotiate back and forth, but no one asked her opinion. Uchiya was in her hands. The ones who should be afraid, should shrink back, was the Yuchi family. And not the people on her side. She didn't need to negotiate with the Yuchi family at all. Yiqing Luo, don't bully intolerably. Uchiya's complexion immediately turned ashen. Make him kneel? In this life, apart from the current monarch, no one could make him kneel. Am I bullying people? What I'm bullying is nothing but an animal. Yiqing Luo sneered. The look in Uchiya's eyes was ruthless. His facial features twisted as if he couldn't wait to cut Yiqing Luo into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly, he felt the coldness on his neck once again stick to his skin. His body tensed up and didn't dare to move. I'll count to 3, you choose. Yiqing Luo's eyebrows rose, a bit charming. That pair of charming eyes flashed with a dazzling flowing light. She slightly leaned forward, her pink lips hooked into an enchanting arc, and directly jumped out a word at Uchiya's ear. 3. With a plop sound, Uchiya kneeled on the ground. Almost subconsciously, when Uchiya came back to his senses, he was already kneeling on the ground. Yi, Qing, fall. Uchiya's entire body trembled. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails were already embedded into his flesh. He hated himself for being weak and useless, and hated Yi-Ching Luo's craftiness. She actually made use of his fear and deliberately skipped 1 and 2 after saying 3, and directly counted to 3. Because Yi-Ching Luo was very clear that he treasured his life. As for her, killing him would be a piece of cake. All right, 7th young Mississippi. Today, consider this matter dropped for my sake. At this time, Mu Zifan walked over and lightly patted Yuchiya's shoulder. Yi-Ching Luo raised her brows and let go of her hand. All right, this young matriarch shall give you this face. Today's matter, this young matriarch shall treat it as if nothing had happened. Mu Zifan faintly nodded. He single-handedly grabbed Yuchiya's shoulder, smiling warmly. My 2 guards, since 7th young miss has already decided not to pursue your wrongdoings, this matter ends here. Lead your young master and get lost from pristine elixir medicine shop. He casually tossed Yuchiya, who weighed 100 kilograms, out as if he was throwing away garbage. Those 2 middle-aged guards were so angry that their complexions darkened. The light in their eyes was gloomy, and they leapt up one after another, catching Yuchiya. One on the left, one on the right, they supported Yuchiya's arms on both sides. Chapter 42. What was meant by treat it as if nothing had happened? What was meant by 7th young lady wouldn't pursue their wrongdoings? What was meant by this matter would end here? Could they still have some face? Yuchiya fiercely clenched his teeth, his eyes brimming with killing intent. It was as if he had already forgotten that he was the first to provoke Yi-Ching Luo. Mu Zifan took out a token from his waist, and said with a light smile, apart from my identity as the eldest son of the Mu family, I am also the young chief of the Alchemist Guild. That token was the size of a palm and was golden in color. The word medicine was clearly visible. The 2 middle-aged guards opened their mouths, but no one listened to Yuchiya's words and went to arrest him. Alchemist Guild. Who didn't know how powerful the Alchemist Guild was? The Alchemist Guild was one of the top powers in Nirvana realm. They specialized in recruiting alchemists and covered the entire Nirvana realm. Although alchemists weren't common, there were still 2,000 to 3,000 of them gathered together. Every continent also had a division of the Alchemy Union. Don't look at the number of people in the Alchemist Guild as compared to other large powers. But this Alchemist Guild was the target that countless large families wanted to curry favor with. They had countless supporting powers behind their back. The Alchemist Guild's objective was, one person, one medicine to rule the world. Unexpectedly, Mu family's Mu Zifan was actually the Alchemist Guild's young chief. If they provoked the Alchemist Guild, just one word and there would be countless powers pouring out to work for the Alchemist Guild. What are you guys still standing here for? Go for this young master. If anything happens, put it all on this young master's head. Yuchiya was so angry that he lost his head. How could he care if he was some young chief or young sect master? His mind was only filled with the desire to kill these 3 people. 4th young master, even if master came, he would still have to be courteous when he sees the young chief. The middle-aged guard whispered in Yuchiya's ear. Yuchiya's fierce expression suddenly froze. Children who relied on their fathers relied on their fathers. Once they heard that their fathers also had to be courteous, the child who relied on their fathers became terrified. 4th young master, let's go back first and report this matter to master. Let master take revenge for you. The guard gave an idea. All right. Yuchiya clenched his fist and forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. Today, this young master will give you a way out and let you off this time. I will definitely make you suffer the consequences. Throwing down these ruthless words, Yuchiya dejectedly left under the escort of the guards. Mu Zifei excitedly rushed to Mu Zifan's side, his eyes filled with excitement. Big brother, you took the Young Alliance Master's command token? The Alchemy Union was all about strength. If one wanted to become the Alchemy Union's Union Master, they would need to have both a moral character and alchemy ability. As for the Junior Alliance Chief, he had to go through layers of selections and tests before finally becoming the future Alliance Chief of the Alchemist Alliance. Yiqing Luo sorted out the Alchemist Guild's matters in her memory, and the gaze which she shot towards Mu Zifan was filled with some probing intent. Coincidentally, Mu Zifan looked over. He was caught peeping. Yiqing Luo had no intention to conceal, but instead openly sized him up. Seventh young lady, as the saying goes, no discord, no concord. I really appreciate your attitude. How about we become friends? Mu Zifan asked with a faint smile. Yiqing Luo's slender brows raised slightly as she pretended to be disappointed and sighed. I thought we were already considered as friends. It turns out that eldest young Master Mu only treats me as a friend now. Mu Zifan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chapter 43. There was something fishy. There was a problem. There was definitely a problem. Just as Mu Zifei was abnormally serious and was about to ask questions, he saw Yiqing Luo folding the fan in her hand and handing it to Mu Zifan. Thank you for lending me the fan, it helped me a lot. Yiqing Luo slightly raised her charming eyes and revealed a sincere smile. Mu Zifan took the fan, opened it and closed it again. Why did 7th Miss think of using a fan as a weapon? The way you hold the fan is very skilled. Has 7th Miss been good at using a fan since young? No wonder he was the young chief. His insight was simply too strong. To be able to easily see through her fan technique, he must have practiced it since young. She was surprised and apprehensive in her heart, but still had a sweet smile on her face. A fan is light enough, inconspicuous, relatively convenient, and can be easily held. Therefore, using a fan as a weapon is the first choice. As for the question of whether she had been practicing with a fan since young, Yiqing Luo directly avoided it and didn't answer. Mu Zifan was a smart person and naturally wouldn't continue to ask. Who knew why Yiqing Luo became so powerful overnight after being useless for more than 10 years? He was also too lazy to delve into these unimportant questions. Right now, what he was most clear about was that he and Yiqing Luo weren't enemies. Just knowing this was enough. At this time, Yi Fengyu, under the shopkeeper's lead, walked over with a face full of apprehension. Especially when he saw the two young masters of the Mu family were also at the side, his resolute legs suddenly froze in place. The embarrassment on his face was obvious. Have you finished getting the medicine? Yiqing Luo stepped forward and put one hand on his back, patting him in relief. Yi Fengyu stuffed the rolled-up medicine list into Yiqing Luo's hands. His young and handsome face tolerated shyness. Yes, I have. Yiqing Luo was calm and spread out the medicine list. There were several wrinkles on the medicine list. It was estimated that when Yi Fengyu took the medicine, his heart was tangled. Mu Zifan's peripheral vision swept over the medicine list and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. 7th Miss bought so many medicinal ingredients, is it for refining medicine? There were at least hundreds of medicinal ingredients on that medicine list. What kind of prescription actually needed so many medicinal ingredients? It's used for alchemy. Yiqing Luo had no intention to hide as she nodded. 7th young lady, you're also an alchemist? When Mu Zifei heard this, he moved closer and lowered his head to look at the medicine list. At that moment, he was completely stunned. He swiftly snatched the medicinal list over and gazed at the astonishing medicinal herbs on the list as his lips twitched. Yiqing Luo, you don't have to do this. He said that the medicinal herbs were all exempted, but he had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so thick-skinned and shameless, with no intention of standing on ceremony at all. He simply wished that he could carry Pristine Elixir Medicine Shop away with him. That's enough. 7th young lady has suffered so much at Pristine Elixir Medicine Hall today. Take these medicinal herbs as an apology. Mu Zifan pulled Mu Zifei behind him and made a shu gesture at him. Immediately following that, he drew out a golden token and with a flick of his finger, that token flew directly towards Yiqing Luo. Yi-Ching Luo received it with a flip of her hand and saw that the palm-sized token was somewhat similar to Mu Zifan's young chief token at first glance. It's just that this palm-sized token was imprinted with the word Alchemist Guild. This is the Alchemist Guild's pass, take it. If you want to come to the Alchemist Guild in the future, you can look for me anytime. Chapter 44. The Alchemist Guild's pass wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. In the entire Nirvana continent, there were no more than 500 people who possessed this pass. These 500 people were all people of virtue and prestige, people who were worthy of respect. She didn't expect that Mu Zifan would actually give this pass to her. Yi-Ching Luo felt his sincerity. She hooked her lips and put the pass at her waist. You were robbed of several hundred medicinal ingredients, and still have to give an Alchemist Guild pass. Seventh young lady, my big brother treats you really well. Mu Zifei winked and smiled. Mu Zifan smiled calmly. I will always be attentive to any talented alchemist. You will definitely be a very good alliance leader. Yi-Ching Luo smiled. If I have nowhere to go in the future, perhaps I will really rely on you. At that time, I hope you won't despise me for being stupid. The three exchanged a few words before Mu Zifan received a letter from the Alchemist Guild and left midway. Yi-Ching Luo also said her goodbyes and prepared to return to the residence with her brother. Mu Zifei sent them away from pristine Elixir Medicine Hall. Just as they reached the entrance, he said, if Yuchiya comes to find trouble with you again, he can directly come to the Mu family to find me. My big brother is always in the Alchemist Guild, and may not see him every 2 to 3 days. I will. Right now the three of us are stepping on the same boat. If I have something, of course I won't be polite. Mu Zifei rolled his eyes. You really don't know how to be polite. I have never been polite to my friends. The implication was that, in her heart, she had already regarded the two Mu brothers as her friends. Mu Zifei couldn't help but laugh. No wonder his big brother, who had always been a loner, would be interested in such a little girl. This girl's character was indeed too likable. That pass, you take good care of it. Its use is absolutely not as simple as being unimpeded in the Alchemist Guild. He suddenly lowered his voice and solemnly said, just as my big brother said, in an emergency, that pass can save your life. Yi-Ching Luo's charming eyes rose into a curved arc, making her appearance even more elegant and beautiful. I hope there will not be a time when I need to use the pass. After leaving pristine Elixir Medicine Hall, Yi-Feng Yu's expression was still stunned and unable to recover. Yi-Ching Luo slapped the back of his head. What are you thinking about? Give me the herbs. Yi-Feng Yu rubbed his head and cried out in pain. Sister, when did you become so strong? Why are the two young masters of the Mu family so attentive to you? Was there a need to give away the Alchemy Union's token just to make friends? Could it be that they've fallen for you? Before he could finish his words, he felt a knock on his head. Let's go home and refine medicine. Yi-Feng Yu clutched his head as he took off the ring in his hand and passed it to Yi-Ching Luo with an aggrieved expression. He stored all the medicinal ingredients in this interspatial ring. There were 3 interspatial rings in the profound phoenix ring. Yi-Ching Luo took one out and passed it to her brother. When they returned to the Yi family, Yi-Ching Luo poured out the medicinal herbs and swiftly sorted them into different categories before keeping them into the profound phoenix ring. Then, he gave the spatial ring to Yi-Feng Yu. He also warned him not to expose his wealth, especially the rare space ring. He had to be even more careful. After driving Yi-Feng Yu out of the abandoned courtyard, Yi-Ching Luo lay on the bed and immediately sent her consciousness into the Azure Dew bracelet. According to the page of the 100 Medicines Pill Refining Manual, Yi-Ching Luo began to refine pills. Chapter 45. Yi-Ching Luo sat cross-legged on the ground with a huge cauldron in front of her. The 4 corners of the cauldron didn't touch the ground and were suspended in the air. Yi-Ching Luo handed over the herbs bit by bit according to the prescription and casually replied, I want to help Xiao Yu refine his profound jade heart. The profound grade was extremely difficult to break through, especially the profound jade heart. Some people spent their entire lives and were only one step away from the next level of profound jade heart, but were unable to break through. Yiqing Luo could see that her brother only lacked a little bit of opportunity. And this opportunity lay in her. As long as the pill was successfully refined, her brother's profound jade heart would definitely break through. And Ziling, that lass, she is very loyal to me. I want to cure her leg. Yiqing Luo took another medicine list and glanced at it quickly. This was the muscle recovery pill from the 100 medicines pill. After taking it, it could quickly repair damaged muscles and external injuries. In her memory, Ziling's leg was broken by Yiqing Ling when she was 7 or 8 years old in order to protect her. This was because when Ziling sold herself to bury her father, she begged her mother to use the money she earned from embroidery for more than 10 days to bury Ziling's father. She even brought Ziling back to the Three Springs sect. The little girl knew how to repay kindness and wholeheartedly treated Yiqing Luo as her benefactor. For Yiqing Luo, even if she lost her life, she wouldn't hesitate. Yiqing Luo had never been stingy towards those who were loyal to her. These 2 herbs, with your current grade, are enough to successfully refine them. You just need to control the amount and the fire. Old man Tsang smiled and nodded, his eyebrows curved as he stroked his white beard. What he admired the most was Yiqing Luo's importance to her own people. This girl looked like she was indifferent to everything, but in fact, she was an extremely good girl. This temperament was somewhat similar to that person in his memory. He thought too far in the future. Old man Tsang shook his head and restrained the complicated thoughts in his mind. He smilingly watched Yiqing Luo's refining step. Alchemy required a lot of patience. The most taboo was to be impatient. Yiqing Luo had refined for at least a month in the Azure Dew bracelet, which was equivalent to 3 days in the outside world. Her mind was affected by the violent banging on the door outside. It was the most crucial time to refine the pill, so it was impossible for Yiqing Luo to come out from the Azure Dew bracelet. She tried her best to calm down and control the fire in her heart. The ones knocking on the door were Ziling and Yifengyu. After knocking and banging for a long time, he did not hear any movement from inside the house. Yifengyu was anxious. He raised his palm and chopped down. The huge wooden door was smashed into pieces. The 2 of them rushed into the room and were about to shout Yiqing Luo's name. Ziling screamed and pointed at the bed. He saw Yiqing Luo lying flat on the bed. Her entire body was emitting a blazing flame-like glow. That ray of red light wrapped around Yiqing Luo. As soon as they got closer, they could feel a scorching heat. It was as if it was going to melt everything around it. Miss. What happened to Miss? This was the first time Ziling had seen such a situation. She was so shocked that her legs gave way and she fell to the ground. Yifengyu narrowed his eyes and carefully sized up his sister's expression. In any case, he was a student of the academy. Yifengyu stared at her for a long time before saying, "Elder sister must have extracted her divine sense and entered her divine sense space to refine pills. That's why elder sister's body is emitting the flames of refining pills." Chapter 46. No! Yifengyu lowered his voice, not wanting to disturb Yiqing Luo. He pulled Ziling back to the door, frowning slightly. The greatest taboo for an alchemist is to be disturbed, especially when refining pills with divine sense. The danger is even greater. Failure in refining pills was a small matter. What was feared was that it would hurt the alchemist's body, and even more serious might cause damage to the alchemist's divine sense. Ziling anxiously stirred her fingers. Then what should we do? Those people from the Yuchi family are too overbearing, we can't stop them. Just as she was speaking, outside the courtyard, there were already countless sounds of hurried footsteps. The door of the abandoned courtyard was banging loudly. There were also a few dignified voices shouting and cursing. "Yiqing Luo, don't hide inside like a turtle. Since you dare to hurt our fourth young master, you should have the guts to bear our anger. Yiqing Luo, get out here. I will let you know the consequences of going against the Yuqi family. These shouting and cursing voices were very unfamiliar. There was also Yi Tianquang's angry low voice. Evil creature! Quickly open the door, otherwise don't blame me for breaking in. Hearing Yi Tianquang's voice, Yi Fengyu was stunned for a moment. It was actually his father. Very quickly, he understood. It turned out that his father had betrayed his sister and wanted to hand her over to the Yuqi family. Yi Fengyu's eyes flashed with anger. His 5 fingers clenched tightly. He really couldn't understand why his father always targeted his sister. Even if his sister was a waste, unable to cultivate profound qi, but after all, wasn't she his daughter? It was said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. But his father didn't care about his sister's life at all. For a moment, Yi Fengyu felt complicated. In his heart, he felt even more guilty towards Yiqing Luo. Born from the same mother, twin sisters, he enjoyed the treatment of the Yi family's young master in the front yard. But his sister was living a life worse than that of a servant. Anger welled up in his heart. He strode to the abandoned courtyard's door and opened it. Outside the door stood 3 middle-aged men. The man at the forefront wore a navy blue robe, with a golden silk belt hanging from his waist, and at a glance it was obvious that it wasn't an ordinary pendant. His face was full of majesty and his aura was aggressive. As for the 2 people behind him, they were the ones Yi Fengyu had seen that day, the 2 9th-grade mystic profound realm guards. Yi Tianquang stood behind the 3 people, his face ashen. At his side was the steward of the 3 Springs sect, Yi Changwei. The moment the door opened, they wanted to rush in. When Yi Tianquang saw that it was Yi Fengyu, he frowned. Yi Changwei was very good at grasping Yi Tianquang's mood changes. He immediately said, "8th young master, you are the Yi clan's 8th young master. How could you come to this kind of place?" As he spoke, he stepped forward to grab Yi Fengyu's hand. Yi Fengyu's cold eyes swept over, and he waved his palm to strike Yi Changwei's hand. Yi Changwei's profound rank was higher than his, but he did not dare to counterattack, and could only avoid Yi Fengyu's palm energy. "You also know that this is such a place?" Yi Fengyu suppressed his anger and glared at Yi Tianquang. "Father, I am the 8th young master of the Yi clan. Staying in this abandoned courtyard is an insult to my identity. Then have you ever thought that the person living in this abandoned courtyard is the 3 Springs sect's young matriarch, the Yi family's first daughter, Yiqing Luo?" "You Yi Tianquang sternly berated. "Pay attention to who you are talking to." How could he have expected that Yi Fengyu, who had always been obedient, would use this kind of attitude to question him because of Yiqing Luo? Didn't Yi Fengyu always detest and loathe Yiqing Luo the most? Chapter 47. "Sister, why are you?" When Yi Fengyu heard this voice, he turned around in astonishment. He saw Yiqing Luo striding elegantly and slowly walking over. That red dress, as she walked, her skirt fluttered like a blooming rose. On that unparalleled face hung a light smile, captivating one's soul. "Ziling, tomorrow hang a signboard for me, on it write livestock not allowed. Hang it above the main door." Yiqing Luo walked over and gestured towards the door. "Yes, Miss Ling will go prepare now." Yi Tianquang clenched his teeth in anger, angrily pointing at Yiqing Luo. Unable to restrain his anger, he roared, "Evil girl! You dare to insult me?" Yiqing Luo rolled her eyes. "Father, I can't do anything about it." "You." Yi Tianquang's wantonly anger and hatred in his heart slowly surged up. "So this is the discipline of your 3 Springs sect, actually allowing the younger generation to offend their superiors." It really broadened this old man's horizons. The middle-aged man standing at the forefront glanced at Yi Tianquang with eyes full of ridicule. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his face lose light. He gritted his teeth in shame and indignation. "Steward Yuqi, I didn't teach properly. today I will hand over this evil girl to you, you can punish her. Steward Yuchi sneered, waved his hand, and two mystic profound grade 9 protectors were about to enter the broken courtyard to capture her. Let me see who dares to enter. Yi Fengyu was anxious. He took out a long knife from his spatial ring and held it tightly in his hand. He stood in front of Yi Qingluo, his eyes staring fiercely at the person in front of him. Today's matter is clearly your fourth young master's fault. You want my sister to take the blame? No way. Come over here. Yi Tianquang's expression became increasingly dark. He cast a sidelong glance at Yi Changwei. Yi Changwei understood. A palm wind came out, wanting to scare Yi Fengyu. This palm had yet to move. Suddenly a cold wind attacked. A sharp pain in his wrist. The sound of bones breaking was extremely crisp. The scene was silent for a few moments. Immediately after, was Yi Changwei's painful scream. A slender white hand slowly slid down from Yi Changwei's arm. His wide red sleeves fluttered in the wind. Yi Changwei hugged his right hand and knelt on the ground. His entire face twisted in pain. Everyone's gazes fell onto Yi Qingluo in unison. His eyes were filled with disbelief. She was at least 4 to 5 steps away from Yi Changwei. Between them was Yi Fengyu, Steward Yuchi, and the guards. But when exactly did she get close to Yi Changwei and pinched his wrist? No one knew. Just what kind of movement technique was this? How could it be so strange? It was so strange that it made one's hair stand on end. Steward Yuchi's face was gloomy. He had heard the guards talking about Yi Qingluo's strange movements. After seeing it with his own eyes, he knew that the guards were not exaggerating. He raised his guard, in case Yi Qingluo silently appeared around him. Insubordination? In front of my lord father, you actually dare to make a move against the son of the first wife? Are you tired of living? Yi Qingluo snorted coldly. Soon after, she raised her eyes and met Yi Tianquang's angry eyes in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Lord Father, you don't need to thank your daughter too much. Your daughter, as the young matriarch of Three Springs sect, naturally has the right to rectify Three Springs sect's conduct. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he trembled. Oh, that's right, Three Springs sect has a matriarch like father. No wonder Three Springs sect's development is declining more and more. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows. Her cold and arrogant gaze swept over the three people from the Yuchi family, the corners of her mouth hooked into a bloodthirsty cold arc. Chapter 48. Xiao Yu, teach this servant who doesn't understand etiquette a lesson. Yi Qingluo looked at Steward Yuchi provocatively, her lips curled into a sneer. Steward Yuchi's face immediately turned ashen. Even the two guards behind him looked as if they had eaten a fly. Damn it! Yi Qingluo was obviously slapping their faces with a smack, smack, smack. Yi Fengyu was stunned when his name was called. The two guards were mystic profound grade cultivators. This Steward Yuchi couldn't see his profound grade at all. Teach him a lesson? Wasn't this looking for **T? What? Want me to do it myself? Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes and smiled sweetly. This smile made Yi Fengyu tremble as he swallowed his saliva. Just as he was about to open his mouth to curry favor, he saw Yi Qingluo's gaze and immediately smiled. I'll do it, I'll do it. How can I trouble my sister for such a small matter? He straightened his back, clenched his long knife, and put on an aggressive look as he faced Steward Yuchi. Sorry for offending you. Yi Fengyu jumped up. His mouth exploded with a roar, and the long knife in his hand chopped out. A wisp of qi lingered on the long saber, forming a saber light. You dare to court death? Steward Yuchi's expression turned cold. A burst of energy exploded from his body. His luxurious robe danced, making a flapping sound. The palm wind directly chopped towards Yi Fengyu. Unexpectedly, Yi Fengyu's long knife changed direction, and actually chopped towards Yi Changwei. Xiao Yu, be careful! Yi Qingluo pretended to panic and cried out. Yi Fengyu heard the shout and somersaulted to the side, avoiding the palm wind. but he still suffered a slight scratch, half kneeling on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yu. Yiqing Luo rushed forward, one hand supporting Yifeng Yu, eyes full of worry. When she saw the smear of blood on the corner of Yifeng Yu's mouth, Yiqing Luo pointed at Steward Yuqi in anger. Your Yuqi family is simply bullying intolerably. Not only did you block this young matriarch outside, you actually dare to come directly to my door. This young matriarch wants to see how lawless your Yuqi family is. Steward Yuqi was already regretting his decision as soon as he struck out with his palm. He had not expected Yifeng Yu and Yiqing Luo to join hands and put on such a good show, intentionally making him think that Yiqing Luo was humiliating him, forcing him to make the first move. In reality, the person Yifeng Yu wanted to attack from the start was Yi Changwei. As the head steward of the Yuqi family, if he were to make a move against the Yi family's son in the Three Springs sect manner, he would definitely be punished. No matter how he explained it, it would be his fault. This lowly girl was actually so shrewd. Yiqing Luo directly ignored Steward Yuqi's vicious gaze. She single-handedly supported Yifeng Yu, her gaze directly pressing down on Yi Tianquang. Lord Father, right now your son, in front of you, has been humiliated by a mere Yuqi family steward. Can you swallow this insult? He couldn't swallow it. Of course he couldn't swallow it. Yi Tianquang's complexion was like a vegetable. He, the dignified sect leader of the Three Springs sect, had to lower his voice to a steward from a profound practitioner clan. After being stirred up by Yi Qingling, he felt that his face had been swept to the ground. That hot-bloodedness in his heart was stimulated by Yiqing Luo. No matter how much he disliked Yiqing Luo in his heart, no matter how much he loathed her. But in the eyes of outsiders, Yiqing Luo was still the young matriarch of the Three Springs sect. It was alright to be bullied by one's own family, but to be bullied by others, wouldn't it let outsiders ridicule Three Springs sect for having no one? Chapter 49. Steward Yuqi's expression also darkened. For a moment, he did not dare to act rashly. He had accurately calculated Yi Tianquang's temperament, only then did he dare to strut around in front of Yi Tianquang. After all, the Three Springs sect's status was there for all to see. If it weren't for Yi Tianquang's cowardice, always wanting to curry favor with all the forces, he wouldn't have had the guts to step into the Three Springs sect. Yi Tianquang's sudden display of power made Steward Yuqi's heart beat like a drum. This young master won't mention the affair between Yuqiya and fourth sister for now. At this moment, Yiqing Luo opened her mouth leisurely, but, because this young matriarch knows their secret, he repeatedly made a move against this young matriarch, and even dared to lay a vicious hand on the Mu family's two young masters. He deserves to be seriously injured and bedridden. Steward Yuqi was secretly shocked when he heard this. He was well aware of his young master's romantic routine, but, flirting with the fourth miss of the Three Springs sect, should he praise his young master for his infinite charm, or should he wipe his cold sweat for his young master? On the other hand, Yi Tianquang's complexion was overcast, as if the frost of October had covered his entire face. What did he mean by Yuqiya and fourth sister were having illicit relations? His, Yi Tianquang's, daughter was actually humiliated by that Yuqi family scum? The Yuqi family didn't even put the Three Springs sect in their eyes. This thought flashed through Yi Tianquang's mind. He thought that the Yuqi family had also offended the Mu family. Yi Tianquang's entire person was also filled with confidence. Like an angry lion, cold air wantonly emanated from his entire body. Steward Yuqi, you dare to humiliate my Three Springs sect. This sect master will absolutely not let this matter rest. Sect Master Yi, this is a misunderstanding. Steward Yuqi's anger abruptly subsided, and his tone softened. The Yuqi family has absolutely no intention of insulting the Three Springs sect. No. Yi Tianquang sneered and slightly narrowed his eyes. This sect master's eyes aren't blind. Get the hell out of Three Springs Manor right now. I will personally pay a visit to the Yuchi family and ask them how they will account for what happened today. Steward Yuchi's expression was thoroughly dark. A sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Since he had already shed all pretense of cordiality, he could not be bothered to give him any face. His long arm suddenly stretched out and his 5 fingers turned into a een claw, pressing towards Yiqing Luo. Steward Yuchi's figure had just moved when Yiqing Luo acutely sensed a murderous aura. In the next second, his body reflexively avoided the danger. Steward Yuchi missed once. He immediately turned around and pressed forward with his palm. His eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. Yi Tianquang was thoroughly enraged. In front of him, she had repeatedly attacked him. What a Yuchi family! Yi Tianquang's eyes were bloodshot. He suddenly clenched his fists, and a wisp of qi lingered on his fists. Just as he was about to make a move, someone placed a hand on his shoulder. Yi Tianquang was so startled that he almost turned his hand to strike behind him. In the instant that the corner of the black robe floated into his eyes, Yi Tianquang's palm was forcibly intercepted in midair. The Yi clan is very lively today. What a coincidence that I've come. A clear voice descended from the sky. This voice was very calm and indifferent, but it easily made Yi Tianquang and the 3 Yuchi family members stop their movements. Your Highness! They knelt down to pay their respects. Only Yiqing Luo stood alone, especially conspicuous. Yi Fengyu tugged at the corner of her robe, reminding her to abide by the rules. But he saw Yiqing Luo's eyes were cold, and the corner of her mouth held a sneer of ridicule. And Ling Fenghua held a gentle and refined smile. Facing Yiqing Luo's indifference and rudeness, he didn't say a word of blame. Get up. Today His Highness is here to see his fiancée. No need to be so courteous. Ling Fenghua smiled and waved his hand. Chapter 50. Fiancé? Steward Yuchi's body stiffened and his face turned ashen. Since when did the crown prince acknowledge Yiqing Luo, this waste, as his future crown princess? Wasn't the most shameful thing for the crown prince to have Yiqing Luo, that useless, weak and incompetent fiancé? Now, the crown prince's motive was obviously to support Yiqing Luo. Once the crown prince intervened, Steward Yuchi didn't even dare to think about it. He knelt on the ground like a stray dog, not daring to get up. What are you doing here? Yiqing Luo frowned slightly as she looked at Ling Fenghua in annoyance. Naturally, I'm here to see you. Ling Fenghua slowly approached Yiqing Luo. His brows were filled with a warm smile. As soon as he got close to her, he smelled the delicate fragrance on her body. His heart was like a monkey running amok as he couldn't help but stretched out his hand to hold Yiqing Luo's tender hand. Scram! A cold word was spat out from Yiqing Luo's pink lips. She sneered and unceremoniously slapped his hand away. Ling Fenghua, don't forget, this young mistress has already divorced you. As soon as he said this, the surroundings fell into silence. Yi Tianquang was so angry that he really wanted to slap Yiqing Luo to death. Previously, when Yiqing Luo said that she wanted to divorce the crown prince didn't pursue the matter. That was because the crown prince was coaxing her. The dignified crown prince was coaxing a girl? Yiqing Luo should be deeply grateful, all right. She actually wanted to divorce the crown prince? Yi Tianquang's malicious and ruthless eyes fiercely looked at Yiqing Luo. Vile spawn, you. This prince likes Miss Seventh's temperament. Ling Fenghua waved his hand with an expression that said, You can do whatever you want, I'll take it. Yiqing Luo shuddered as goosebumps formed all over her body. Like her personality? Could you please not disgust me? Damn it. I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. Yiqing Luo rubbed her arms as she shifted her feet to the side with a look of disgust. Yi Fengyu stood up immediately and stood in front of Yiqing Luo. The youth's slender figure happened to block Ling Fenghua's line of sight. Ling Fenghua's smile froze. He had painstakingly coaxed a woman, only to be despised by her. His face had been thrown 108,000 miles away. Your Highness the Crown Prince, she's just too shy. Yi Tianquang racked his brains to think of an excuse, his face still piled with a flattering smile. This excuse almost made Yi Qing Luo choke on her saliva. Shy? Holy shit. Which eye of yours saw that I'm shy? Even if I'm shy, I won't be shy in front of Ling Fenghua. Yi Qing Luo felt that if she were to continue staying here, she would definitely vomit out yesterday's dinner. She narrowed her charming eyes slightly and her slightly cold gaze swept across the few people kneeling on the ground. Soon after, he slightly raised his gaze and stared at Yi Tianquang. The matter of the Three Springs sect and the Yuqi family will be handled by Father Xiao Yu. Let's go. After saying that, he walked towards the gate of the abandoned courtyard without looking back. Yi Fengyu followed closely behind. He completely ignored Ling Fenghua. It was the first time that Ling Fenghua had lost face in front of a woman. He had always been proud and believed that as long as he wanted to, he could have any woman in the world. But he didn't expect that Yi Qing Luo would be rude to him again and again. A woman with thorns all over her body. When he first saw her, there was indeed a sense of novelty, and he wanted to conquer this woman. But after a long time, it hurt. A proud man couldn't wait to let go of this thorny rose. Thinking of a few days ago in front of the common people, Yi Qing Luo made him suffer. Thinking of being ignored by Yi Qing Luo now. Chapter 51. 7th Miss. Ling Fenghua suppressed his anger as his voice came from behind her. The matter of breaking off the engagement is due to my lack of consideration. I sincerely apologize to you, and will try my best to satisfy all your requests. Are these not enough to appease your anger? Yi Qing Luo stopped in her tracks, turned her head and curled her lips disapprovingly. Anger? I'm not angry at you. Then, Ling Fenghua's face lit up, but his smile had yet to spread to his eyes when it froze at the corner of his mouth. He only heard Yi Qing Luo's cold and sweet smile. Towards you, I have no feelings at all. Why should I waste my feelings on an insignificant person? No feelings at all? Who was the one who kept on pestering him, calling out Brother Hua, so happily? Ling Fenghua's arrogant heart seemed to have been stabbed by a knife. Yi Qing Luo was still smiling sweetly, her charming eyes seemed to be mocking him. What's more, who stipulated that I must forgive you if you apologize? Ling Fenghua's eyes were filled with coldness as he strode over and stretched out his hand to grab Yi Qing Luo's shoulder. Yi Qing Luo habitually dodged sideways. Just as she was about to counterattack, she saw Ling Fenghua's face suddenly turned green and red. It was as if he had eaten **T. His eyes widened and his mouth kept trembling, looking like he was about to vomit. Following that, everyone except Ling Fenghua knelt on the ground. They were shouting something like Overlord. Overlord? An evildoer's face appeared in Yi Qing Luo's mind. She looked around sharply and didn't discover Dmo Xian's presence. Then, why did these people inexplicably shout Overlord? Just as she was thinking, Ling Fenghua suddenly grabbed her wrist and raised it up with an expression of eating shit on his face. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and unwillingness as he pointed at Yi Qing Luo's sleeve and asked with gritted teeth, Why? Why do you have this? Yi Qing Luo then discovered that her sleeve revealed a piece of purple cloth. That cloth happened to be exposed at one end, embroidered with an incomparably clear Overlord word. Overlord? Dmo Xian? Yi Qing Luo shook off Ling Fenghua's hand and pulled out that piece of cloth. F***CK. Wasn't this the day she met Dmo Xian for the first time? The last palm strike she had sent towards Dmo Xian didn't hit him, but hit off that piece of cloth on his sleeve? As expected of the legend of the Nirvana realm, even a small piece of clothing could intimidate people. It was simply too cool. What exactly is your relationship with the Overlord? Ling Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the piece of cloth. A woman was hiding a small piece of a man's clothes. What else could that mean? Especially, if it wasn't for the Overlord's willingness, how could Yi Qing Luo possibly have his clothes? Ling Fenghua felt as if he had been cuckolded. No wonder Yi Qing Luo had been so arrogant recently, with such a detestable attitude towards him. It turned out that he had already hooked up with his next target. His gaze towards Yi Qing Luo became even more vicious. Yi Qing Luo found it funny. Ling Fenghua looked as if he had been cuckolded. What was going on? He had never treated her as his fiancée, so why was he acting like this now? Yi Qing Luo sneered as she stuffed the cloth into her sleeves, pulled up Yi Fengyu who was kneeling on the ground, and strode into the abandoned courtyard. With a bam, the abandoned courtyard's main door closed. The wind blew, rolling up the fallen leaves on the ground, sprinkling onto the back of Ling Fenghua's feet. The scene was silent. Chapter 52. It was undeniable that the deafening sound of the door slamming made Yi Fengyu feel very refreshed. But after feeling refreshed, he felt a lingering fear. The person outside was the current Crown Prince Ah. Slamming the door and leaving, although domineering, this was a great disrespect to the Crown Prince. Just as Yi Fengyu scratched the back of his head with a face full of apprehension, a hand suddenly stretched out in front of him. "This is a peerless immortal pill. Take it and eat it." Peerless immortal pill? Yi Fengyu's pupils suddenly widened, a burst of ecstasy spread from the bottom of his heart. What disrespect to the Crown Prince, to hell with it all! His excited hands trembled as he grasped Yi Qing Luo's hand and pushed her slender fingers away one by one. When the last finger was pushed away, an earth-colored pill appeared in the palm of her plain white palm. At first glance, this pill couldn't be any more ordinary. But upon a closer look, one would discover that the pill was shrouded in a faint medicinal mist, emitting a medicinal fragrance. Just taking a whiff of the medicinal scent, he felt his entire body's exhaustion was swept away. Yi Fengyu's excited lips trembled, unable to spit out half a word for a long time. His hands cupped the peerless immortal pill, his face full of ecstasy. "Although it is a low-grade pill, I reduced the amount of medicinal ingredients and added a few more. After the transformation, compared to ordinary peerless immortal pills, the medicinal effect should be a bit stronger." Peerless immortal pill, a low-grade pill, could greatly enhance a profound practitioner's profound jade heart absorption, thus reaching the barrier of profound jade heart advancement. Of course, it also didn't mean that every profound practitioner who took the peerless immortal pill would advance. It all depended on individual factors. "I still have 6 pills on me. If you successfully advance your profound jade heart, I will unconditionally give the remaining 6 to you." Yi Qing Luo tossed out another temptation when she saw her brother's smug look, as if he was on cloud 9. Immediately, Yi Fengyu was overjoyed, his eyes sparkling. "This is what you said. I will go back to the courtyard to practice now." One cauldron could at most refine 10 pills at a time. Yi Qing Luo was able to refine 7 peerless immortal pills. It was already unprecedented. Yi Fengyu suddenly felt that there was meat to eat as long as he followed his sister. Therefore, Yi Fengyu respectfully held the immortal pill in his hands and happily left the abandoned courtyard. By the time Yi Fengyu's aura had completely disappeared from the range of her senses, the smile on Yi Qing Luo's pale face disappeared from her lips. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. She supported herself with one hand on the wooden table and the other on her chest. His body swayed slightly, and his legs gave out and he fell onto the chair. "Girl, are you all right?" Old Man Tsang's concerned voice came from her mind. Not long ago, when Yi Qing Luo was refining pills, she was disturbed. Originally, she had wanted to calm her heart and wait until she finished refining the medicine before leaving the Azure Dew bracelet. But the other party had come knocking on his door. Yi Qing Luo's state of mind was not at ease and her control of the fire was slightly off by a little. Because of this, there were only 7 pills refined in the end. As for Yi Qing Luo, she had also suffered from the punishment of her consciousness refining pill. Her consciousness was damaged and she was injured. When facing Steward Yuchi and His Highness the Crown Prince, she forced herself to pretend that nothing was wrong. "I'm fine." Yiqing Luo held her chest and closed her eyes. "I'll be fine after resting for a while." Chapter 53. The profound jade heart that Dmo Xian had formed in Yiqing Ling's body was definitely not an ordinary profound jade heart. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel the lingering qi waves in her heart. However, her meridians were sealed, and she was unable to freely circulate her profound jade heart. Old Man Tsang's voice paused, and he suddenly took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind about something. He said, "Little girl, this old man has a cauldron here. If you can tame this cauldron, then the marrow-cleansing pill and whatnot will not be a problem." Yiqing Luo's thoughts stirred and her consciousness entered the azure dew bracelet. Her divine sense was damaged. This move caused her body to feel a tightness in her chest, and a few traces of blood flowed out. Yiqing Luo didn't have the mood to care as she rushed straight to the front of Old Man Tsang. "Smelly old man! If you have something good, why didn't you take it out earlier? You hid it for so long." "It's not that I'm trying to hide it, it's just that." Old Man Tsang wanted to say something but hesitated. Yiqing Luo panicked. "Don't just, but, whatever cauldron, just take it out." Old Man Tsang sighed, and his illusory body swayed. A huge cauldron suddenly appeared in front of Yiqing Luo's eyes. The furnace was made of bronze, and the patterns on the body of the furnace were strange. It was impossible to tell what the patterns were. However, when she took a closer look, she vaguely felt that there was a pair of eyes glaring at her from the lines. The golden light flickered, making it hard for people to look away. That cauldron was even taller and bigger than Yiqing Luo. Instantly, the wide azure dew bracelet seemed a bit narrower. This is, Yiqing Luo had never come into contact with alchemy before, so she couldn't recognize this furnace in front of her. However, he knew that this cauldron was no ordinary item. At the very least, he was at the Supreme Being level or above. Sure enough, they heard Old Man Tsang proudly say, "This is a legendary cauldron, called the Dragon God Cauldron. It's a vessel used by ancient gods to refine pills, and it's a cauldron that all alchemists yearn for even in their dreams." Dragon God Cauldron? Legendary level. Yiqing Luo was dumbfounded. Her pair of charming eyes suddenly widened. She subconsciously wanted to touch the Dragon God furnace. His wrist was grabbed by Old Man Tsang. "Don't go over." Yiqing Luo's other hand had already touched it. Suddenly, a burst of golden light flickered in front of her. Yiqing Luo had no time to see clearly what happened and only felt a pain in her finger. Then, she was pushed out by the golden light. Fortunately, Old Man Tsang supported her from behind. Old Man Tsang immediately raised her hand and saw that there was a bright red mark on her finger. Fresh blood was gushing out. "Ouch!" Yiqing Luo sucked in a breath of cold air. Old Man Tsang's expression became grave. "What's going on? It actually sucked your blood?" Yiqing Luo was stunned. "What's sucking my blood?" The Dragon God Furnace is a legendary furnace. Like the Azure Dew Bracelet, it has a guardian spirit. The guardian of the Divine Dragon Cauldron is the totem outside the cauldron, the Golden Dragon. Old Man Tsang bandaged Yiqing Luo's finger as he explained. "The Golden Dragon's temper is the worst. Even if it's me, when I was still alive, I wasn't able to tame the Divine Dragon Cauldron." He paused for a moment, a puzzled look in his eyes. "I've never heard of it taking the initiative to drink human blood, Golden Dragon?" Yiqing Luo vaguely recalled that when she touched the Dragon God Furnace earlier, she seemed to have seen that golden light form a golden head. That sharp golden tooth cut a line from her finger. Chapter 54. "Girl, you're really lucky. This old man is envious of your luck." Old Man Tsang pushed Yiqing Luo towards the Dragon God Cauldron. "All right, you can go over now." Yiqing Luo was dumbfounded. He wasn't allowed to go over just a moment ago, so why was he allowed to go over now? He thought that the Divine Dragon Cauldron would resist him again. but her body directly collided with the divine dragon furnace. The ice-cold sensation instantly eroded her entire body. Yiqing Luo shivered and was just about to leave when she heard a strange voice resounding in her ear. "New master, I am the guardian of the dragon god cauldron, called Cauldron Dragon." "The guardian of the divine dragon furnace? New master? Holy shit, what the hell? Little girl, the dragon god cauldron has absorbed your blood, so it has established a blood contract with you. It will follow you for the rest of your life, only for you to use." Old Man Tsang saw Yiqing Luo's horrified expression and explained aloud. Not only was Yiqing Luo shocked, his heart was also overwhelmed with shock. When he was still alive, he obtained the divine dragon cauldron. But even after his death, even after he became the protector of the Azure Dew Bracelet, he still had no way of taming the divine dragon furnace. He had not expected the dragon god cauldron to take the initiative to sign a blood pact with Yiqing Luo. It seemed that this little girl's identity was extraordinary. At this moment, Yiqing Luo was communicating with the cauldron dragon. She learned from the cauldron dragon that the divine dragon furnace was an alchemy furnace contracted by an ancient divine sovereign. After the divine emperor passed away, the divine dragon furnace fell into the nirvana realm. Then, Old Man Tsang unexpectedly obtained it. Then, she appeared. Why me? Yiqing Luo was puzzled. This was the first time she had seen the dragon god's cauldron. She had also heard Old Man Tsang mention that from when he was alive until he became a guardian, he had never been able to tame the dragon god's cauldron. She didn't understand why the cauldron dragon would choose to form a blood contract with her. The cauldron dragon's voice was loud and clear, possessing the dignity of the dragon race. "Because of your scent. Taste?" Yiqing Luo raised her hand and sniffed her body. He showered every day, and there wasn't any special smell. "You humans can't smell this smell," said the cauldron dragon. Yiqing Luo's hand covered the pattern of the dragon god cauldron. The dragon god cauldron suddenly trembled and randomly transformed into a palm-sized cauldron, falling into Yiqing Luo's palm. The cauldron dragon's voice came again. "I can be as big or as small as you wish. I will definitely teach you everything I know about refining medicine." In other words, it would not interfere in anything other than alchemy. He held the divine dragon furnace in his hand. He also had Old Man Tsang, a Grandmaster Alchemy Senior, and Cauldron Dragon's teachings. Yiqing Luo suddenly felt that she was going to soar into the sky in the alchemist's circle. "I want to refine the marrow-cleansing pill." Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with joy. Ever since she started concocting pills, she had always wanted to concoct better pills. He wanted to unlock the seal on his meridians, wanted to stabilize his brother's profound rank, wanted to cure Zi Ling's leg. Now that she had the divine dragon cauldron, everything she wanted could come true. The cauldron dragon was silent for a moment, as if it was investigating the situation within Yiqing Luo's body. Soon after, a dignified voice rang out leisurely, "All right, I only need 2 days." 2 days. No wonder it was a cauldron that the divine sovereign had once used. His words were so unyielding. Yiqing Luo was extremely excited. "Cauldron Dragon, let's start refining the pill now. Before that, you must guarantee that no one will disturb you while you refine the pill," the Cauldron Dragon said solemnly. Chapter 55. Yiqing Luo understood. Under Cauldron Dragon's request, she first took a pill to treat the damage to her consciousness. Then she left the Azure Dew Bracelet and called Zi Ling over. She told her to stand guard at the door, and that no one was allowed to come in and disturb her. Just as she was about to return to her room, she thought of something and added, "If little Yu comes, let him guard the door with you." In the following days, Yiqing Luo lay on the bed and her consciousness entered the Azure Dew Bracelet to refine pills. For an alchemist, apart from having good pill refining skills and character, they also had to have the best refining tools. A top-grade cauldron and a powerful profound jade heart condensed core flame, in addition to precious medicinal ingredients. This was an essential piece of equipment if one wanted to successfully refine a pill. Yiqing Luo fulfilled all of these conditions. It was just that her current body was somewhat powerless to control the legendary grade cauldron. At first, refining pills could be considered easy. She followed the 100 medicines pill-forming recipe and threw the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron according to Cauldron Dragon's instructions. She controlled the heat, but after a long time, her profound jade heart clearly couldn't support it. Usually, the longest time to refine pills wasn't more than 8 hours. This time, it took 24 hours to complete the refinement. The originally extremely pure core flame gradually became slightly turbid. Her breathing also became more and more chaotic. "Girl, you hold on." Old Man Tsang realized the situation wasn't right and suddenly slapped his head. "I forgot to remind Cauldron Dragon, your profound jade heart isn't your own." Dmo Xian's profound jade heart could be freely operated by Yiqing Luo. But after a long time, it could easily cause the profound jade heart to become tired and resist Yiqing Luo. Seeing the cold sweat on Yiqing Luo's forehead dripping down drop by drop, it was obvious she couldn't hold on any longer. Old Man Tsang's spirit body flashed and quickly landed behind Yiqing Luo. Both palms came together and a white light burst forth from Old Man Tsang's palms. Immediately, a warm current assaulted Yiqing Luo's profound jade heart. It lingered around the profound jade heart's surroundings and rotated several times. It easily suppressed the pain Yiqing Luo had been forcibly holding onto. That warm current revolved unceasingly within her body. After one revolution, her profound qi gradually stabilized. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine dragon cauldron shook. The golden light instantly lit up the entire void. As soon as the lid of the cauldron was lifted, a few golden pills automatically popped out. Yiqing Luo flipped her palm, and those few medicinal pills automatically fell into her palm. There were 3 in total. Elder Tsang. Elder Tsang. I refined it successfully. I've succeeded. Yiqing Luo's brows were filled with ecstasy. She held the 3 golden pills and quickly walked towards Old Man Tsang. Then, he saw Old Man Tsang lying on the ground. His white robes, white hair, and beard seemed to have merged with the space around him. The smile on Yiqing Luo's face instantly froze. "Old Man Tsang, what's wrong with you?" Yiqing Luo's expression congealed as she half knelt on the ground and stretched out her hand to help Old Man Tsang up. "Master, don't touch him for now." The Cauldron Dragon's voice interrupted her actions. Yiqing Luo's arms stiffened, her eyes filled with worry. "Is it because Old Man Tsang just passed me profound qi causing—" "Girl, don't worry." Old Man Tsang's voice was very light. His white beard moved along with his lip. "I'm fine. I'll be fine after recuperating in the Azure Dew Bracelet for a period of time." Yiqing Luo's pink lips pursed into a straight line. Chapter 56. He is the guardian of the Azure Dew Bracelet. As long as his spiritual body is still within the bracelet, nothing will happen to him, said the Cauldron Dragon. Yiqing Luo bit her lips. Old Man Tsang will be fine. The Cauldron Dragon was the guardian of the divine artifact. It wouldn't deceive her. In any case, she was the master of the Cauldron Dragon. Little girl, since the marrow cleansing pill has been successfully refined, there's no time to lose. Eat the marrow cleansing pill and unseal your meridians. Old Man Tsang's voice grew softer and softer. I have to go into seclusion for a period of time. The Cauldron Dragon will guide you. Yiqing Luo nodded her head repeatedly. I will. When you come out of closed-door cultivation, I will not let you down. The corner of Old Man Tsang's lips twitched weakly. Soon after, white mist curled up and completely enveloped Old Man Tsang's body. After the fog dispersed, where was Old Man Tsang's figure? Don't think too much. Let's begin. Cauldron Dragon didn't give Yiqing Luo time to think about other things. Yiqing Luo concealed the uneasiness in her heart. Indeed, it was useless no matter how much she thought about it. The only thing she could do now was to unlock the seal on her meridians and cultivate her profound qi to make herself stronger. According to Cauldron Dragon's method, Yi Qing Luo sat cross-legged on a stone block. Immediately, his little but felt a chill. 1,000-year frost ice? Yi Qing Luo stretched out her hand in astonishment and stroked the stone block. Immediately, a cold aura that was comparable to a heart-piercing chill spread from her palm to her arm. The 1,000-year frost was a good item. It was a treasure that countless profound practitioners desired. It was said that as long as a profound practitioner cultivated on the 1,000-year frost, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. This was because the Millennium Frost was refined from the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Now that it was placed within the Azure Dew bracelet, the spiritual energy on the stone block was even denser and purer. He hadn't expected that Old Man Tsang would hoard quite a few good things and hide them in the Azure Dew bracelet. Yi Qing Luo sat upright and swallowed a marrow-cleansing pill. The marrow-cleansing pill melted in his mouth, and his mouth was instantly filled with a refreshing medicinal fragrance. The medicinal fragrance flowed down his throat and into his body, flowing into his meridians. The process was extremely painful. Yi Qing Luo couldn't hold it in for a few times as she let out a painful moan. In his tendons and veins, waves of medicinal fragrance kept colliding and pressing against each other. His entire body felt as if it had been torn apart and then reassembled. A sharp painful moan came out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth. There was a metallic taste in his throat. As soon as he heard the sound of cooking, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood was black, so black that it was purple. Then, a cold current spread from his buttocks to his limbs and bones. The painful squeezing sensation was no longer there. At this moment, Yi Qing Luo only felt carefree and incomparably refreshed. A majestic and terrifying profound qi erupted from Yi Qing Luo's body. That profound energy emitted a dazzling light, making the red-clothed woman on the stone block look even more enchanting than the sun and moon. The purification was a success. The blocked tendons and meridians were unblocked. A steady stream of profound energy spread through his limbs and bones. Master, taking advantage of this momentum, you can begin challenging the first level of the Azure Dew Bracelet's mental cultivation method. Nanny? He was already challenging the first level of the mental cultivation method? Not waiting for Yi Qing Luo to regain her senses, that huge cauldron shook violently. Her footsteps were unsteady and her body bumped into something. In the next second, that thing that she had bumped into was like a suction cup, firmly sucking her in. Yi Qing Luo's eyes immediately went black. In a short moment, Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes again and discovered that she was actually standing on a battle stage. Chapter 57. This is the first level's competition arena. Cauldron Dragon's faint voice seemed to come from the horizon. Master, raise your head. Yi Qing Luo followed the voice and raised her eyes. Above her head was a vast expanse of white mist that she couldn't see the bottom. On the extreme right side of the arena, a fiery red candle lamp floated in midair. When this lamp goes out, no matter what happens on the arena, I will summon you back. Cauldron Dragon continued, if you successfully pass the first level before the lamp goes out, you can obtain the first level's secret arts. In other words, before this lamp goes out, Cauldron Dragon absolutely wouldn't interfere with her? The Azure Dew Bracelet has 12 levels of purgatory. The first level is the simplest. With your current ability, you should be able to deal with it. Do you see that huge one on the arena stage? Pour profound qi into the one and the Azure Dew Bracelet will randomly create a void space according to your strength. Yi Qing Luo followed Cauldron Dragon's words and half knelt on the ground, pouring profound qi into the one under her feet. When her profound qi was released, the profound qi that had just been gathered after purification actually crazily rushed towards her profound jade heart. As if it had found an outlet, it drilled into her profound jade heart as if it didn't cost anything. Yi Qing Luo clutched her heart, one hand on the ground, and let out a muffled groan. This crazy oppressive feeling squeezed her profound jade heart until it swelled painfully. At the same time, the entire arena shook violently. In a split second, a group of fiendish wild beasts appeared in front of Yiqing Luo. There were at least 100 of them in a group. The 100 beasts cried in unison, deafening the ears. The entire arena seemed as if it was about to collapse. These wild beasts were refined according to your current strength. You only need to defeat these beasts in front of you, and you can smoothly pass the first level of purgatory. After Cauldron Dragon finished speaking, there was no longer any sound. It seemed as if it simply didn't see Yiqing Luo's expression of endless pain. It simply couldn't be more painful. Her chest swelled to the point it was about to explode. And the 100 wild beasts in front of her, after their protective barrier was broken, surged towards Yiqing Luo. Among those wild beasts, the smallest was 2 meters tall. They opened their bloody mouths, revealing their sharp teeth. He opened his mouth and tried to swallow Yiqing Luo into his stomach. Yiqing Luo's 5 fingers clasped tightly around her heart as she leapt up. Using the height of a wild beast, she somersaulted in the air. Soon after, he landed steadily in the empty space of the arena. A few ferocious wild beasts missed their target and crashed into each other. Yiqing Luo panted heavily as her slender brows creased tightly. All of a sudden, the profound heart jade seemed to have been set ablaze by a ball of flame. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel the scorching heat in her chest. Following this, her body began to emit a layer of dazzling light. The light spread like fire. Yiqing Luo felt that this ray of light had turned into strands of qi, seeping into her body from her skin. Bit by bit, it lingered on the profound heart jade. The swollen and painful feeling gradually disappeared. Surrounding the profound heart jade surroundings was a stretch of pure profound energy. When he clenched his fist, he could feel boundless power accumulating in him. The roars of wild beasts rang in his ears, and the wild beasts in front of him pounced ferociously. Yiqing Luo's charming eyes gleamed with a bloodthirsty and enchanting red glow. The first floor? Chapter 58. The fiery red candlelight floating in the air flickered. On the arena, a pile of wild beast corpses piled up into a small hill. One by one, at an extremely fast speed, piled up high. In the middle of the arena, in the midst of the blood mist, a red figure was faintly discernible. Under her feet, there was an extremely strong qi wave, the strong wind fluttering her dress, like a blooming rose. A head of simple hair, long disheveled, hung down to her shoulders. That devastatingly beautiful face was covered with a layer of frost. There was no emotion on her face. Between her charming eyes, there was an excited cold glint. What swept her pink lips was a bloodthirsty and treacherous smile. She was killing incomparably carefree. The wind from her palm landed again, the wild beast flesh and blood splattered. Fresh blood splashed on her face. Her smile was more and more devastatingly beautiful. That smile made people appalled. Yiqing Luo could clearly feel that the profound heart jade in her heart was transmitting her endless profound qi, making her fight tirelessly, unceasingly. Every time a wild beast fell, the blood in her body boiled for a while. In the arena, there were finally 3 wild beasts that weren't too big in size, but their power was extremely strong. These 3 wild beasts had some human nature, actually knew how to help each other. And the candlelight above her head, the candle flame was already getting weaker. At this time, Yiqing Luo couldn't be impatient. She understood this logic. Trapped by the 3 wild beasts, Yiqing Luo used her footwork to move back and forth. The profound qi in the profound heart jade was also constantly hoarding, absorbing. The wild beast's vision followed, but in a moment they were dizzy. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yiqing Luo targeted one, hit it. The triangular standing wild beast, one died. The triangular defense disintegrated. Dealing with it was even easier and more comfortable. By the time Yi-Qing Luo finished off the last wild beast, the candle which was floating in midair had also extinguished. Almost at the same time. Ha ha ha, lass, I knew, as long as it's you, you can definitely do it. Old Man Tsong's voice came from her mind. His voice was unable to conceal the joy in it. Yi-Qing Luo's bloodthirsty cold eyes suddenly became clear. Old Man Tsong? Are you alright? This old man hasn't even seen you ascend to the peak of powerhouses. How can you die? Old Man Tsong's voice regained its usual vigor. After inquiring, Yi-Qing Luo found out that she had spent 3 days and 2 nights in the first story. Old Man Tsong had been cultivating in seclusion for the past few days. Although he couldn't appear in his previous spiritual form, he could at least communicate with her. When Old Man Tsong returned to her side, Yi-Qing Luo immediately felt a sense of familiarity. The smile on her face added some of the warmth that a young girl should have. Girl, you're really lucky. Old Man Tsong quipped, even the timing is so precise. At the same time, when the lights go out, the last beast will be eliminated. Yi-Qing Luo's lips curled upwards as she gave a light smile. Girl, congratulations on successfully passing the first level of the purgatory. Old Man Tsong's laughter was filled with gratification. I'll leave the first level of the deep water art to you. On the stage, the huge one character shone brightly. A scroll floated in the air. Yi-Qing Luo stretched out her hand and the scroll automatically fell into her palm. The light dissipated. When the scroll entered her hand, there was a cool touch. Yi-Qing Luo lowered her eyes to look at the top of the scroll. The ink writing was like dancing dragons and dancing phoenixes. Teleportation. Teleportation? Damn. It was actually teleportation. Chapter 59. When Yi-Qing Luo was still in the 21st century, she had heard the name teleportation from those old men's mouth. They had mentioned it more than once. But what made Yi-Qing Luo remember this name incomparably deeply was, those old men had tricked her into going to the Yi family's ancient tomb to retrieve the Yi family's heirloom. They had deliberately mentioned teleportation. Teleportation, as the name implied, was able to move in an instant. Compared to her strange footwork and identity, it was even more astonishing. If one could cultivate teleportation to the highest level, in a place as big as a town, he could easily teleport to any place he wanted. Unexpectedly, Yi-Qing Luo had really obtained the secret manual of teleportation in the first layer of purgatory. It was rare for those old men to speak the truth. The reward for successfully passing the first layer of purgatory is randomly generated by the Azure Dew Bracelet's first layer of purgatory according to the statistics of when you defeated the 100 beasts. Old Man Tsong explained. When Yi-Qing Luo fought against the first layer of purgatory, she used her modern footwork. Because of this, purgatory filtered out the most suitable reward for Yi-Qing Luo. Regarding this reward, Yi-Qing Luo expressed that she was very satisfied. Satisfied to the point that she couldn't be more satisfied. Don't be complacent too early. Old Man Tsong saw Yi-Qing Luo's shining eyes and sighed helplessly. You must restore the profound jade heart that was dug out as soon as possible. Mentioning the profound jade heart, Yi-Qing Luo's hand subconsciously covered her chest. Right, she had almost forgotten that the profound jade heart in her chest wasn't her own profound jade heart. A profound jade heart that didn't belong to her, if used improperly, could easily cause a backlash from the jade heart. Just like when she fought against the wild beasts and released profound chi to open the first layer of purgatory, she almost suffered a backlash from the profound jade heart. This profound jade heart of yours can't hold on for too long. Old Man Tsong continued. Or, you can find the person who formed the profound jade heart for you and let him restore the current profound jade heart for you. Find Dmo Xian? Yi-Qing Luo inexplicably thought of the 1-month appointment that he had made with her. He said he would give her 1 month's time to prove her strength. At that moment she understood everything. 1 month's time was almost up. and the time that Dmo Xian gave her to condense this profound jade heart was estimated to be a month. If Dmo Xian forgot about her existence and forgot about this 1-month appointment, it was very likely that the profound jade heart in her chest would swallow her. Or perhaps all her hard work for the past month had been in vain. Damn it! What he hated the most was the feeling of having his fate in someone else's hands. Without Dmo Xian, she couldn't do anything? Yiqing Luo's fingers clenched tightly as her charming eyes flickered coldly, filled with unwillingness. Only she could control her own fate. He had to find his profound heart jade as soon as possible. Yiqing Luo bid farewell to Old Man Tsang and Cauldron Dragon before leaving the Azure Dew Bracelet. The minute her consciousness returned to her body, Yiqing Luo immediately felt hungry. Within the Azure Dew Bracelet, she didn't feel anything at all. Once they returned to reality, Yiqing Luo clutched her stomach and shouted with a dry throat. Ziling, 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 who was guarding outside the door, heard the noise and slammed the door open. Miss, you've finally woken up. Ziling's face was filled with anxiety as she limped and jogged, staggering endlessly. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes as she realized something. What happened? Ziling saw that her Mrs. lips were dry and didn't forget to pour a cup of water for her as she spoke. Chapter 60. What? Yiqing Luo's eyes darkened. Yiqing Ling, that little bitch, was the last lesson not enough? Now, he actually dared to stir up trouble in her courtyard. She forgot the pain after the scar healed. Yifeng Yu's profound grade was above Yiqing Ling's. But his temperament had not reached the point where he would stand to the end. After all, Yiqing Ling was his fourth sister. Yifeng Yu would never go all out. But Yiqing Ling would not care about the brotherhood. Where is it? Let's go. Yiqing Luo got down from the bed, and took out a pill from the profound phoenix ring to replenish her qi and stuffed it into her mouth. Ziling quickly led the way in front. About 20 meters away from the abandoned yard was a corner of the Three Springs Manor's garden. Yiqing Ling held a long sword in her hand and slashed at Yifeng Yu with every move. The long sword made a whoosh sound in the air. She sneered arrogantly. Call that little waste Yiqing Luo out, isn't she quite arrogant and presumptuous? Yifeng Yu kept dodging and frowned. Fourth sister, we are all children of the Yi family, why do you have to be so aggressive? Don't talk nonsense with me. Another wave of swords came crashing down. Yifeng Yu hit the ground with both hands and rolled over. Fourth sister, if you continue to be so aggressive, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Yo, I want to see how you are going to show no mercy. Yiqing Ling sneered. In her eyes, both Yiqing Luo and Yifeng Yu were unwelcome in the Three Springs Manor. A daughter of the first wife, and also the young matriarch, was bullied and helpless. A son of the first wife, although he could live in the courtyard arranged by his father, no one paid attention to him and no one regarded him as a son of the first wife of the Yi family. What was there to be afraid of? Yiqing Ling narrowed her eyes. Two motherless children would never be able to stand firm in the Yi family. Her moves were even more ruthless. Yifeng Yu was enraged. Profound qi broke out of his body, and he swung his palm to meet Yiqing Ling's sword. Yiqing Ling was taken aback and astonished. She was not surprised because Yifeng Yu made a move against her. Instead, Yifeng Yu's profound rank was several levels higher than hers. What was going on? She remembered that Big Sister had once said that Yifeng Yu's profound rank was at the 3rd level of the mystic profound realm. However, Yifeng Yu's personality was weak, and he had too many misgivings. When he fought, his hands and feet were tied. If they were to fight, even a yellow mystic realm expert would be able to easily subdue him. But however, the Yifeng Yu in front of her was completely different from what Big Sister had described. Although Yiqing Ling couldn't see through his profound grade, but she could feel that this was definitely not the power of the mystic profound grade 3. What happened to having a weak personality? He actually attacked her. Yiqing Ling didn't know that the current Yifeng Yu, under Yi Qing Luo's intentional or unintentional influence, was slowly changing his inner thoughts. Yi Qing Ling panicked. She was not an idiot. If Yi Fengyu really wanted to fight with her, she would definitely be the one to suffer. Looking at Yi Fengyu's palm approaching, Yi Qing Ling steeled her heart and cleverly avoided the palm strike. Immediately after, as if he had been struck by the wind from the palm, his body flipped in the air and fell to the ground with a thud. She clutched her chest with a face full of pain. Fourth sister. Sure enough, it was just as Yi Qing Ling had expected. Yi Fengyu immediately withdrew his hand and looked at his own hands in panic. With a worried face, he ran to Yi Qing Ling and helped her up. Fourth sister, are you all right? Chapter 61. Yi Qing Ling's long sword was pressed against his neck. Fourth sister, Yi Fengyu's face was ashen. He didn't expect Yi Qing Ling to lie to him. Your shameless sister is a good-for-nothing, and you, the younger brother, are a fool. You two siblings are really a perfect match. Yi Qing Ling laughed arrogantly, her eyes full of ridicule. Yi Fengyu wasn't afraid of the long sword at his neck. What made him feel cold was that the person who pointed the sword at him was his own fourth sister. He didn't treat his fourth sister as an enemy, so he was soft-hearted. However, fourth sister was bent on taking his life. She wanted his sister's life. His sister was right, the most taboo in a battle was to be soft-hearted. There was an old saying, there are no fathers and sons on the battlefield. At this moment, Yi Fengyu's state of mind had changed. What are you staring at? Are you going to stand up for your shameless sister? Yi Qing Ling sneered. I forgot, didn't you always hate your useless sister and hate her for throwing your face? Why are you so protective now? If my brother doesn't protect me, do you think he will protect you who is worse than a waste? Yi Qing Ling had just finished her words when she heard a clear and melodious voice. Immediately, Yi Qing Ling felt a tingling sensation in her arm. Immediately, there was a crisp sound of bones breaking. The long sword fell to the ground. Yi Qing Ling covered her right hand and didn't have time to react. A red shadow flashed in front of her and a leg kicked her chest. Suddenly, her internal organs seemed to be squeezed by something and her body was kicked out. Little Yu, are you okay? Yi Qing Luo pulled him over and carefully looked at him. Yi Fengyu shook his head blankly. No, I'm fine. He wasn't the only one who was stunned. Even Yi Qing Ling, who fell to the ground and spat out blood, was stunned. The one in front of her, was it really that Yi Qing Luo? Compared to the last time she saw her, her imposing manner was more majestic and made one's heart tremble. It was obviously the same face, the same eyes. But clearly, it was a beauty that transcended the mortal world. Shocking beauty was enough to enchant all living beings. Trash that didn't even have a profound heart. Jade, when did he have such an extraordinary change? Yi Qing Luo confirmed that Yi Fengyu was not injured and turned her sight to Yi Qing Ling, who was lying on the ground. She slowly stepped forward, her charming eyes revealing an enchanting sneer. Yi Qing Ling, you've really forgotten the pain after the scar has healed. Since you're so eager to court death, this young matriarch shall fulfill your wish. Bitch. You slut. Yi Qing Ling clutched her chest and slowly crawled backwards. In Yi Qing Ling's eyes, the current Yi Qing Luo was like an Azura who reaped her life. Fear spread from his heart to his entire body. Every cell in her body was venting out the fear in her heart. Yi Qing Luo sneered and didn't continue walking forward. Her charming eyes squinted slightly. Scared? Don't worry. What scares you is yet to come. Yi Qing Ling's face immediately turned pale like a sheet of paper in fright. Her 5 fingers clutched the ground as she growled in fear. Yi Qing Luo, you seduced the crown prince and caused him to refuse to marry eldest sister. Now you still want to kill me. You will be struck by lightning. Yi Qing Luo couldn't help but laugh when she heard this. She was also slightly tipsy about Yi Qing Ling's 3 views. If this lightning really strikes, it will strike you first. Yi Qing Luo covered her mouth and giggled. Chapter 62. It seems like, before that, I was the rightful future crown princess. The arc on Yi Qing Luo's lips deepened. As an elder sister, to go behind your sister's back and snatch your sister's fiancé, shouldn't you be struck by lightning? Yi Qing Ling lowered her eyes guiltily, not daring to look into Yi Qing Luo's eyes. His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness and big sister are truly in love. It's your fault. When Yi Qing Luo heard that, her slender brows rose slightly as she gave an interesting smile. Since you really love each other, then why did you come to settle the debt with me? True love? He Yi Qing Luo didn't believe that there was any true love between that pair of scum man and scum woman. If Ling Fenghua wasn't the crown prince, would Yi Qing Qian spend so much effort to seduce him? If Ling Fenghua really loved Yi Qing Qian, would he not hesitate to choose her, the more valuable Three Springs sex young matriarch? True love? Bah! Don't insult these two words, okay? Yi Qing Ling was rendered speechless. His face turned red, and his fingers scratched the ground, leaving marks on it. Yi Qing Luo walked over and half-squatted in front of her. Yi Qing Ling was so scared that her whole body was trembling. You want to live? Yi Qing Luo smiled and squinted her eyes. Yi Qing Ling nodded repeatedly. She knew very well that if Yi Qing Luo wanted to kill her now, it would be an easy matter. She didn't even have the chance to resist. Yi Qing Ling was extremely regretful at this moment. Why did she listen to her eldest sister's words and impulsively seek revenge on Yi Qing Luo? Yi Qing Luo's slender and fair fingers lifted that trembling chin. Then, the corners of her lips curled up, looking incomparably gorgeous. Then, obediently answer a few of my questions. Yi Qing Ling bit her red lips and was about to spit out some malicious words. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain on her chin. It was so painful that she sucked in air repeatedly, and tears came out of her eyes. I'll talk. Yi Qing Ling was scared and admitted defeat. Heavenly fortune in, did you and Yi Qing Qian join forces with Yuqiye to destroy my innocence? Yi Qing Luo narrowed her cold eyes and asked in a deep voice. Yi Qing Ling's face turned pale and her pair of eyes blinked nonstop. No, it's not, The sound of bones breaking rang out from his jaw. It's me. Tears rolled down Yi Qing Ling's face. Her body had just recovered, and she was seriously injured by Yi Qing Luo. His heart was filled with frustration and helplessness. My profound heart jade, was it you who dug it out? Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes refracted even colder. That day, she had just crossed over and her chest was bleeding. This was enough to prove that the profound heart jade had just been dug out not long ago. Before that, it was Yi Qing Ling who knocked her out and fed her the medicine. Yi Qing Ling's pupils abruptly contracted as she shook her head in fear. Really, it really wasn't me. How would I dare to dig out your profound jade heart? No matter how much she hated Yi Qing Luo, she was after all still a young lady in her boudoir. Yi Qing Ling wouldn't be able to dig out the human heart's jade. But, even if Yi Qing Ling didn't dig it out, she definitely knew the whereabouts of the profound heart jade. Yi Qing Luo's lips curved into an enchanting smile as her 5 fingers wandered frivolously on Yi Qing Ling's pale little face. Then, tell me, who dug it? I don't know. Yi Qing Ling shook her head frantically, but the moment she met Yi Qing Luo's icy cold eyes, she immediately stopped talking. She sobbed and her little body trembled. After a long while, as if she couldn't bear Yi Qing Luo's gaze, she cried out bitterly. Chapter 63. Black-Clothed Man? Yi Qing Luo searched her memory for information about the black-clothed man. She found nothing. I really don't know who that black-clothed man is. He left after digging out your profound jade heart. I was also forced by him. Seeing Yi Qing Luo slow to speak, Yi Qing Ling fearfully begged for mercy. Looking at Yi Qing Ling's appearance, she also knew that she shouldn't be lying. That black-clothed man instigated Yi Qing Ling to lay hands on her, then took the opportunity to dig out her profound jade heart. The target should be her profound jade heart. This wasn't impossible. Since her profound jade heart was born, there were countless people who coveted it. Even Yi Tianquang once wanted to dig out her profound jade heart and refine it himself. Later, if it wasn't for her mother looking for Yi Tianquang to talk for a night. How could this group of people from the Yi family let go of her profound jade heart? Although my profound jade heart wasn't dug out by you, but you can't get away from it. Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes slightly narrowed as she spoke in a cold tone. Yi Qing Ling's whole body trembled as she felt something. I didn't mean it, I was also forced. You promised not to kill me. I won't kill you. Yi Qing Luo slowly straightened up, an enchanting smile leaping into her eyes. That smile was unable to conceal the bloodthirsty cold glint in her eyes. Then you want. Yi Qing Ling cried out in horror. Meeting Yi Qing Luo's eyes, she felt as if an ice-cold viper was coiling around her neck, unable to breathe. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up, bewitching and enchanting. Because of you, my profound jade heart was dug out, then. I'll destroy your profound jade heart, how about that? Yi Qing Ling's complexion immediately turned ashen. She desperately shook her head and sobbed incessantly. Seventh sister, fourth sister knows she was wrong. Fourth sister knows she was wrong. I beg you, don't destroy my profound jade heart. Destroying the profound jade heart was equivalent to destroying her cultivation. Without profound qi, she was a waste. Three Springs sect. Absolutely wouldn't treat a waste well. Just look at the previous Yi Qing Luo and you'd know. Yi Qing Ling was so scared that tears flowed unceasingly. The drops of tears ruined the makeup on her face. A mess of red and green. Didn't I beg you before? But how did you treat me? Yi Qing Luo squinted her eyes as she smiled calmly. In his memory, he clearly remembered it. When Yi Qing Ling forced her to take medicine and sent her to Heavenly Fortune Inn, she begged bitterly. However, Yi Qing Ling was getting more and more excited. Now, Yi Qing Luo was the same. Seventh sister. Seventh sister. Yi Qing Ling sobbed and her body kept crawling backward. Under her body there was a pool of blood. Yi Qing Luo smiled like a flower as she slowly raised her hand, and a burst of profound qi condensed in her palm. Yi Qing Ling's eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at the profound qi in Yi Qing Luo's hand. Wasn't her profound heart jade dug out? Why could she still release her profound qi? Don't be afraid, I will be fast, so fast that you won't feel any pain. Yi Qing Luo raised her palm high and aimed at Yi Qing Ling's chest. Killing intent. A strong sense reminded Yi Qing Luo that there was danger behind her. Yi Qing Luo's legs moved. Boom! Only to see that the place where she was just standing had exploded into a huge, deep pit. Yi Qing Luo withdrew her hand and looked towards the direction of the killing intent. She saw Yi Tianquang walking over in a rage. Behind him, Yi Qing Jian also followed. Vile spawn! You actually dare to harm your own brothers! Yi Tianquang bellowed, the veins on his forehead bulging. As soon as he approached, his palms suffused with a cold jade light. Chapter 64. Bursts of strong wind stirred up the dust on the ground. The strong waves that could topple mountains and overturn the seas whistled. It was enough to see how much profound energy Yi Tianquang used in this palm. Yi Qing Luo didn't dodge this time. Instead, the corners of her lips slightly curled up, revealing a cold smile. She immediately released her profound qi. The wind from her palm turned into two dragons. The imposing manner was like a rainbow, directly colliding with Yi Tianquang's palm wind. There was another deafening boom. Two profound qi collided in midair. Profound qi suddenly exploded, the entire garden, branches flew everywhere. Both retreated a few steps. Yi Tianquang's complexion changed. When he saw Yi Qing Luo withstanding his palm strike, and even matching that palm strike of his face was filled with disbelief. Yi Qing Qian opened her mouth wide. She was so surprised that she forgot to take the opportunity to support Yi Qing Ling to her side. At this time, the father and daughter only had one thought in their minds: how was this possible? Wasn't Yi Qing Luo a waste? A waste who didn't even have a profound jade heart. How could she receive her father's palm strike? Were they dreaming? I didn't expect father to say the words fratricidal. It really makes me look at you in a new light. Yi Qing Luo sneered. Thinking back, Yi Qing Ling and the others had done fratricidal things many times. Yi Tianquang didn't even say half a word. Yi Tianquang fiercely gritted his teeth, his complexion gloomy. Qing Ling is your fourth sister. No matter what mistake she made, you shouldn't make a move. Fourth sister let people dig away my profound jade heart, causing me to almost lose my life. Now I'll destroy her profound jade heart and let her live. It's a very good deal. Yi Qing Luo raised her eyebrows, her tone full of ridicule. You dare? Yi Tianquang angrily stamped his feet, pointing at Yi Qing Luo, his fingers trembling. Then let your daughter see how father will stop your daughter. The last word just spat out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth. Yi Qing Luo already made a move. Her figure flashed, only enough time to see a magnificent red shadow. She was already crawling on the ground, trying to leave this dangerous place, next to Yi Qing Ling. Her slender hands grabbed onto Yi Qing Ling's clothes as if she was carrying rubbish. The profound chi in his palm struck Yi Qing Luo's chest with a bam. He could clearly hear the sound of something shattering. Yi Qing Ling only felt a sharp pain in her heart. Her tightly pursed lips overflowed with a few streaks of blood. Something inside him broke. He felt as if all the energy in his body had been sucked dry. He fell to the ground powerlessly, unable to move. He let the blood on his body and in his mouth ooze out bit by bit. The position of Yi Qing Luo's palm strike was neither biased nor coincidental, it just happened to be the position of the profound heart jade. Even Yi Qing Ling's heart was unharmed. Ling Qing Ling! Yi Qing Jian and Yi Tianquang immediately shouted. Evil creature! Yi Tianquang's eyes were scarlet as he flew into a rage out of humiliation. He, Yi Tianquang, in this lifetime, had only produced such a waste like Yi Qing Luo. He had lost all his dignity. Now another one had appeared. What was the difference between a person whose profound heart jade was destroyed and a cripple? Yi Qing Luo made a move against Yi Qing Ling in front of him. This was a naked challenge to his authority, a slap to his face. Yi Tianquang roared explosively, his palms pressing out a powerful, imposing manner. It was unknown how many times more valiant this wave of qi was compared to the previous palm strike. However, no matter how strong it was, it still couldn't do anything to Yi Qing Luo. She leapt, the five-pointed star pattern released under her feet. Chapter 65. The five-pointed star pattern under Yi Qing Luo's feet clearly announced that she had already entered the profound realm. She was no longer the wastrel who was despised by everyone. However, Yi Tianquang wasn't as excited as expected. His expression was as cold as ever, and his sharp eyes were covered in frost. He didn't feel that the Yi family's daughter becoming a profound practitioner was something to be happy about. Seventh sister, no matter what method you used to become a profound practitioner, you shouldn't have done anything to fourth sister. Yi Qing Qian suddenly opened her mouth, her gentle face full of seriousness. She assumed the posture of an elder sister. Ling is your fourth sister, how can you be so cruel? Yi Qing Luo swept her eyes over Yi Qing Qian and couldn't help but sneer. Afraid that Yi Tianquang would be soft-hearted after knowing she was a profound practitioner? So she deliberately aroused Yi Tianquang's anger and made a move on her? Yi Qing Luo's gaze returned to Yi Tianquang's face. From Yi Tianquang's eyes, she couldn't see the slightest bit of soft-heartedness. It was true that he wanted to kill her. Yi Tianquang's attitude really made people think deeply. Previously, he hated Yi Qing Luo because she was a waste and lost the Yi family's face. Now, she had already become a profound practitioner, and her strength was clearly above the Yi family's young masters and young ladies. Yi Tianquang's attitude towards her was still the same as before. Or could it be that Yi Tianquang's hatred towards her had already become a kind of habit? Or there was another reason? Evil creature! If I don't teach you a good lesson today, I will be the Three Springs sect's patriarch in vain. Yi Qingqian ignited the anger in Yi Tianquang's heart. During this time, he had always been led by the nose by Yi Qingluo. In front of the common people, she didn't give the Yi family any face. Moreover, she plotted to make Three Springs sect and Yuqi family enemies. He really foolishly stood up for Yi Qingluo and found the Yuqi family's patriarch. Thinking of the humiliation he suffered at the Yuqi family, the anger in Yi Tianquang's eyes burned even more fiercely. The brown five-pointed star pattern suddenly spread from the soles of her feet. Yi Tianquang released his profound energy. Both of his palms shot out like snakes and dragons, and his aura immediately swallowed the mountains and rivers. That was an extremely dazzling ray of light. His palms condensed and moved. Both palms seemed to have turned into an illusion. The speed was so fast that Yi Qingluo couldn't see it clearly. Oh, Lord Father is so easily angered, it's easy to look old. Yi Qingluo sneered. Soon after, the tip of his foot pushed off the ground, and his entire body met the wind from his palm, heading straight for Yi Tianquang's face. Courting death. This was obviously a blatant provocation. Yi Tianquang's eyes darkened, and his palms fiercely chopped out. He sent out a few palm strikes in succession, and they were like huge waves that stacked on top of each other. Boom, boom, boom. The ear-piercing cracking sound was deafening. Chi waves surged, and gravel flew everywhere. It was impossible to see anything clearly in this corner of the garden. Apart from Yi Tianquang, Yi Qingjian and Yi Qingling, there were no other signs of life. Yi Tianquang coldly withdrew his hand. He clapped his hands and sneered in his heart. A puny yellow profound practitioner actually dared to act so insolently in front of him. Did he really think he was the young lord of the Three Springs sect? If it wasn't for Father, suddenly, a frightened voice interrupted Yi Tianquang's complacent thoughts. He turned his head. But he saw that the woman who should have died under his palm was now leisurely and contentedly clutching Yi Qingjian's neck. That pair of eyes that could charm all living beings held a faint smile as she gazed at him. Yi Tianquang immediately felt his heart tremble. Chapter 66. What kind of pair of eyes were those? They were obviously long and narrow, yet they were suffused with a cold light. A bloodthirsty murderous aura was like a sharp blade. Just a glance was enough to make one's heart feel like it was being cut by a sharp blade. The flying sand and pebbles gradually came to a stop. The corner of the woman's mouth held a sneer. The coldness in her eyes became more and more penetrating. Father, come, hit me. Yi Qingluo's charming eyes were tinged with a smile as she pointed at Yi Qingqian's chest. Yi Qingqian was Yi Tianquang's most valued daughter. How could he bear to hit her? Yi Tianquang was so angry that his face turned ashen and very unsightly. His hands clenched into fists, his whole body was burning with anger, blowing his robe and making it flutter. Vile spawn, I've shown mercy, but it's become an excuse for you to strut around. Good, watch this. Yi Qingluo's charming eyes slightly narrowed, the corner of her mouth rose into a meaningful smile. She suddenly let go of Yi Qingqian and quickly retreated a few steps, distancing herself from the two. All right, then let your daughter see how capable Lord Father is when he doesn't show mercy. Yi Qingluo's eyes flickered. It just so happened that she had just cultivated in the Azure Dew bracelet and reached the yellow profound 9th grade. 9th grade was equivalent to Yi Qingling's current profound grade. But the same profound grade, on different people, could have completely different power. To deal with a weak trash like Yi Qingling, even if she had an ordinary body that couldn't cultivate profound qi, she could still be abused to the point that her parents wouldn't recognize her. Against Yi Qingqian, there was no challenge at all. In the first layer of the Azure Dew Purgatory, the real combat opponents were wild beasts that didn't understand human nature. That kind of combat could improve the combat level. but it couldn't cultivate the ability to adapt to danger when fighting with others. It was better to use Yi Tianquang to practice. Yi Qing Luo's action was obviously 2 slaps on Yi Tianquang's face. Yi Tianquang was immediately unable to restrain his anger and raised his palm. The momentum of this palm was indeed completely different from the previous one. Waves of qi gradually flowed around his palm. A huge palm print converged on top of his head. The powerful profound qi drove the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, converging into the palm print bit by bit. Ha! A low roar exploded from Yi Tianquang's mouth. The palm print floating above his head suddenly flashed with lightning-like flowing light. The entire space was filled with a cold gust of wind. Yi Qing Luo's red dress fluttered in the wind. The ground beneath his feet trembled violently, as if it was about to split open. Soon after, Yi Tianquang raised both of his arms, shook them, and shouted. That palm print turned into numerous silhouettes, covering the sky and earth as it pressed down towards Yi Qing Luo. Yi Qing Luo steadied herself in the horse stance and swiftly mobilized the profound qi in her body. With a flip of his palms, a cold current gushed out from his palms. Boom! The deafening sound of the collision caused the air in the entire space to freeze. Yi Qing Luo condensed her profound qi once again and forced it towards her palms. She pushed the strength in her palms and forced the palm print to retreat. In terms of profound qi, she was naturally inferior to Yi Tianquang. In the competition of profound qi, in just a few breaths of time, she had already been forcefully suppressed to the point where she was unable to stand straight. His legs gradually bent. Yi Qing Luo clenched her teeth and shouted loudly, "Break for me!" A scorching heat suddenly ignited in her heart. In an instant, the scorching heat gathered in her palms. It was the profound Jade Heart. Chapter 67. Good job. The profound Jade Heart's power came at just the right time. Yi Qing Luo's cold eyes flashed with a cold glint. Her palms gathered boundless power. Profound qi suddenly turned into a tornado, wreaking havoc between heaven and earth. Unexpectedly, it forced Yi Tianquang's palm qi back. The earth quaked and the mountains swayed, the sky fell and the earth split. Everything in the surroundings exploded. Yi Qing Qian and Yi Qing Ling were also forced to take a few steps back by this strong force. Only, at the same time that the palm qi was pushed back, Yi Qing Luo's heart suddenly felt a dull pain. As if her heart had been ruthlessly cut in half by someone with a knife. Yi Qing Luo's complexion was slightly pale. She endured the pain and stood up straight. Yi Tianquang simply didn't expect that Yi Qing Luo could actually force back his profound qi. By the time he regained his wits and wanted to avoid that palm wind, it was already too late. The palm wind brushed past his shoulder. His luxurious clothes were torn apart, his entire body, under that powerful qi, fiercely rolled back twice. Soon after, he barely managed to steady his footing, cut an incomparably sorry figure. Fresh blood gushed out from Yi Tianquang's shoulder. "Father!" Yi Qing Jian called out worriedly, looking at Yi Qing Luo with an additional trace of fear. Everyone was dumbfounded in place. Eyes full of astonishment, eyes full of disbelief, they were already unable to express their current mood. Yi Qing Luo could cultivate profound qi without the profound Jade Heart. It was very strange. Yi Qing Luo could cultivate profound qi. Her profound level was at the yellow profound level, yet she could fight evenly with an earth profound practitioner. This was especially strange. A piece of trash, just what was it about him that allowed him to undergo such a huge change? Still want to go? Yi Qing Luo coldly swept over Yi Tianquang's injured shoulder. The smile on the corner of her mouth became increasingly enchanting. Yi Tianquang's expression was gloomy. A dignified earth profound practitioner was injured by a little waste who had just become a profound practitioner. Especially this person was his daughter who he had always disdained. What kind of humiliation was this? He wanted to move, but his chest was stuffy and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Father!" Yi Fengyu, who was chased far away by Yi Qing Luo, saw Yi Tianquang spit out blood, and his expression immediately congealed. In his heart, although Yi Tianquang wasn't a successful father, he was still his father. Sister, you can't fight anymore, you can't fight anymore. Yi Fengyu supported Yi Tianquang's body as he turned his head to plead with Yi Qing Luo. Yi Qing Luo shot him a cold glance. On your account, I'll stop here today. If anyone dares to create trouble in my courtyard next time, all of you will crawl out. With that, she turned around and left. As soon as he moved, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. She took a deep breath and bit her lower lip, trying her best to make her steps look less awkward. Evil creature! Suddenly, a furious shout came from behind him. Yi Qing Luo acutely sensed something, but before she could react, she was sent flying by a palm strike. Yi Qing Luo's body was thrown into the sky and fell onto the ground. Sister! Yi Fengyu's eyes widened and his legs immediately rushed towards Yi Qing Luo. Yi Tianquang swayed as he stood in front of Yi Qing Luo. His eyes were ruthless as he laughed complacently. Vile spawn! As he laughed, he coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. He had originally suffered internal injuries, and that palm strike just now had practically used up all the strength in his body. After laughing, that strong and sturdy body fell straight onto the ground. Ah! Yi Qing Luo clutched her chest and wiped the bloodstain at the corner of her mouth. In order to injure her, Yi Tianquang had really gone all out. Even his old life had to be thrown away. Chapter 68. Sister, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Yi Fengyu's heart was filled with guilt. If he hadn't pleaded for Yi Tianquang, Yi Qing Luo wouldn't have been injured. Yi Qing Luo didn't blame her brother, she knew her brother's character very well. She was a person who had transmigrated here, so she didn't have any feelings towards Yi Tianquang. Killing him was the same as killing a stranger. But Yi Fengyu was different. Yi Tianquang treated Yi Fengyu pretty well, and Yi Fengyu also treated him with extreme respect. Naturally, Yi Fengyu didn't want to see her and her father kill each other. She held Yi Fengyu's hand and shook her head. I'm fine. Help me back to the house. The one in trouble was most likely Yi Tianquang. Her line of sight coldly glanced at Yi Tianquang, who was lying on the ground. A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. That smile caused Yi Qing Jian, who had come to support Yi Tianquang, to feel her scalp go numb. Watching Yi Tianquang fall unconscious in a pool of blood, Yi Qing Luo felt that the wounds on her body weren't that painful anymore. Seeking revenge for the smallest grievance was her principle and the rule of survival. If she didn't have it easy, then Yi Tianquang wouldn't have it easy either. Yi Fengyu's thoughts were all on Yi Qing Luo at this moment. He immediately and carefully picked up his sister and held her in his arms. The young boy looked thin and weak, but his strength was not small. Yi Qing Luo nestled in his arms, looking like a delicate little doll. A trace of warmth spread in his heart. The coldness in his eyes gradually dissipated. What replaced it was a warm smile that she had never shown before. Yi Qing Luo leaned her head on her brother's shoulder and suddenly felt that her brother had really grown up. Be it in her previous life or this life, this was the first time that someone had let her lean on his shoulder. In the room, Yi Qing Luo leaned against the head of the bed with a pale face, gulping down the medicinal soup that Yi Fengyu had passed to her mouth. This medicinal soup was used to treat internal injuries. She didn't want to drink it at first, but when she saw Yi Fengyu's worried expression, she could only brace herself and finish the bitter medicinal soup. She had medicinal pills to treat internal injuries, she had them. It melted as soon as it entered his mouth. There was no taste at all, and its effects were many times better than this medicinal soup. However, Yi Fengyu didn't give her a chance to speak. After drinking a bowl of medicinal soup, Yi Fengyu's expression softened a little. His expression was solemn as he carefully reminded Zi Ling to take good care of Yi Qing Luo. Then, he left the abandoned courtyard. Yi Tianquang was also seriously injured. It was reasonable for him to go over and take a look. Xiao Yu, today's matter has nothing to do with you. If he wants to punish you, just look for me. Yiqing Luo clutched her chest and stuck her head out to look at him. Yifeng Yu's footsteps halted as he turned back and met with Yiqing Luo's pair of chilly eyes. He smiled. I know. He walked out of the room and had just turned around to close the door when he heard Yiqing Luo's cold voice. You can't just endure everything. If you endure, the other party will step on your head. We are the legitimate sons and daughters of the first wife of the Yi family. If anything happens, Big Sister will take care of it. Yifeng Yu's hand that was about to close the door froze. After a while, he said nothing and closed the door. Young master knows his limits. You can rest at ease and recuperate. Ziling advised. Yiqing Luo sighed lightly and raised her hand to stroke her aching eyebrows. Xiao Yu's personality still needs to be tempered. Only by understanding the fickleness of the world can he truly grow. Chapter 69. Ziling was worried that once she left, no one would take care of her Mississippi. I'm tired, I want to rest for a while. Yiqing Luo propped up her body and slowly lay down. She closed her eyes, her face full of exhaustion. Ziling tucked Yiqing Luo in and left the room to chase after Yifeng Yu. At the instant when the room door closed, Yiqing Luo, who had her eyes tightly shut, suddenly opened her eyes. The relaxed expression on her face also disappeared. She raised her hand and placed it on her chest that was wrapped in layers of bandages. Profound jade heart, it was most likely broken. It wasn't Yi Tianquang's palm. But when she resisted Yi Tianquang's second palm, the profound jade heart suddenly erupted with power. The current her couldn't even release profound qi to check the condition of her injury. Once she moved, her heart throbbed with pain, as if it was torn by something. She endured the pain and put on an unharmed appearance. She didn't want Yifeng Yu and Ziling to worry about her. Without the profound jade heart, it meant that she had no way to operate profound qi. She was equivalent to a cripple. She didn't give up and closed her eyes. She wanted to use her divine sense to explore her heart and see if her profound jade heart was intact. But just as she withdrew her divine sense, that tearing pain attacked again. Oh, a mouthful of sweet blood rushed up her throat. Yiqing Luo abruptly opened her eyes as she laid prone on the bed, and with a wah sound, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Looks like the injury isn't light, little thing. Suddenly, a deep and mellow voice sounded in the room, like fine wine intoxicating people's hearts. Yiqing Luo's body suddenly froze on the bed. There was someone in the room? She actually didn't sense it at all. Could it be that there was a problem with the profound jade heart? The instinct that had been formed over so many years would also have a problem? Yiqing Luo's eyes were sharp as she looked towards the direction of the voice. What she saw was a handsome face with peerless elegance. That pair of deep peach blossom eyes flashed with a demonic luster as he looked at her with a smile that wasn't a smile. Yiqing Luo's heart trembled for no reason. It's him. Dmo Xian. No wonder she couldn't sense the other's aura. How did you? Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased tightly as she looked at him vigilantly. Little thing, have you forgotten our 1-month appointment so quickly? Dmo Xian raised his eyebrows slightly. In the blink of an eye, he was already standing beside the bed. The strong wind brought along the elegant sandalwood scent unique to him. The promise of a month. Of course she remembered. This was the time limit for the profound heart jade that Dmo Xian had given her. Are you here to deliver the profound heart jade? Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes and went straight to the point. Dmo Xian didn't expect her to be so straightforward. His long and narrow eyes revealed a meaningful smile. Little thing, you only remember this lord's profound heart jade? Of course. Yiqing Luo raised her eyes and examined Dmo Xian from head to toe as if she was examining a commodity. Apart from being able to give me the profound heart jade, do you have any other value? Ha! Ha 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 ha, interesting. Dmo Xian suddenly burst into laughter. his chest shaking, unable to stop laughing. Little thing, you're getting more and more interesting. He bent over and placed his palm on Yi Qing Luo's chest. This lord's decision a month ago is indeed not wrong. His eyes were dyed with a smile. A peerless beauty that caused people to be infatuated. Yi Qing Luo's delicate body slightly trembled. Although she was clear that Dmo Xian's action was merely to investigate the profound heart jade in her body.